me crazy just looking at it. Combing your hair with your hand gives me feelings I don't understand. Combing your hair with your hand gives me feelings I don't understand. You do this thing when you're biting your lip. It's driving me crazy just looking at it. You know me better than I know myself. I don't wanna live in a world without you. You do this thing when you're biting your lip. It's driving me crazy just looking at it. You know me better than I know myself. I don't wanna live in a world without you. World without you. Driving me crazy just looking at it. World without you. Driving me crazy just looking at it. You do this thing when you're biting your lip. Without you, driving me crazy just looking at it. Driving me crazy just looking at it. Combing your hair with your hand gives me feelings I don't understand. Combing your hair with your hand gives me feelings I don't understand. You do this thing when you're biting your lip. It's driving me crazy just looking at it. You know me better than I know myself. I don't wanna live in a world without you. You do this thing when I'm talking to you, like everything freezes and it's just you. You do this thing when I'm talking to you, like everything freezes and it's just you. You do this thing when you're biting your lip. It's driving me crazy just looking at it. You know me better than I know myself. I don't wanna live in a world without you. Give it to me like world without you. Just looking at it. World without you. Driving me crazy just looking at it. You do this thing when you're biting your lip. World without you. Driving me crazy just looking at it. Driving me crazy just looking at it. You know me better than I know myself. I don't wanna live without you.
Good evening, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone, depending where you are. I know we're all in different places. Another long day for a lot of people, I bet, but I bet we're all glad to be home now. Just looking for a couple of things on the news. Just been watching it today as it goes on. You know, we're in that stage now where the football's over, all the BS starts coming out, along with everything else. And the thing they've definitely been talking about is the VAR. My question is, does anyone even actually want this VAR? It's got its ups, and it's definitely got its downs. But I personally feel the downs totally outweigh the ups. I mean, it can ruin a game, but I'll get into that in a minute. I'm going to say hello to a couple of people on the side. I mean, I know there's lots of other shows going on and that at the moment, but I thought, you know what, stuff it. I'll just drop one in the middle sort of thing. David R, we'll watch you. I hope you're doing good, mate. We'll watch you replay later. I want darts tonight. Oh, yeah. Hope you win there, mate. However, 19 teams back in VAR is scandalous and screams of corruption. But hey, what's new? Exactly, mate. What is new when it comes down to it? And Tony Rodriguez, always here. Always good to see you, mate. Big up to you too. Raymond Son, hi all. Hello to you. And Tom Thacker, big up Dan, big up chat, big up to you. Samuel, my little brother-in-law, hope you're doing good, mate. And Ryan, big up Dan and the chat. It's the ones using VAR that do my head in. They are so incompetent, mate. I think you just smashed the nail on the head. That is one of the points I will get to. I mean, they have got to be so... I mean, some of them you'd think, have you ever even watched football, let alone played football? because they take so long and they just don't seem to have a clue in what they are doing. It takes them so long to make a decision that we can sit there on the side and realise that weren't offside. But they can't do that. That's what they're made to do, isn't it? But again, who am I to say? And also with us, we got Robert Wilson. Big up, Dan, and everyone at the chat. Big up to you too, mate. And Finn Rickwoods. Big up to you, mate. Andy Clark, always good to see you on here, even though you are an Arsenal supporter. Big up, Dan. And the same managers that voted it will complain about it next season as well. Same shit, different Premier League, different game, innit? Because they will. When it don't go in their favour. And what's this here? Ryan Mac F gifted 5 top HotspurHood memberships. Thank you, mate. That's much appreciated. You don't have to do that sort of thing. But, mate, thanks a lot. It is well appreciated. And Robbie, how's it going, everyone? Let's get rid of this VAR. Well, one thing I can tell you, VAR is not going nowhere. And Robbie from Lily Whites, if you want to come on, mate, do say. I'll send you the link. Big up, Dan. If they could get the system working as they do in other sports like rugby, it could work well. That is another point. It seems to be only the English VAR that seems to get it tits up. It just, I mean, in Serie A, they don't have those troubles. So why do we have those troubles over here? It's obviously because we don't have the people with the quality of doing it. So they need to be trained better. And Robert, what you got to say? Ryan, thanks, mate. Yep. Again, thanks for that, Ryan. Big much appreciated. And Ryan saying you're welcome. Robbie, Lily White, my biggest issues is that all the officials are on the same intercom, making it sound like an Xbox party. I don't touch Xbox on PlayStation, but I understand what you mean. And chaos, lack of communication with fans and players is a joke as well. And you're also saying here, it's not the idea of the system that's the problem for me. It's the incompetent cabbages running it. Oh, that was a bit of a dig, wasn't it, mate? But you're right. You are right, mate. It is the people running the VAR that are the biggest problem. They just don't seem to know what they're doing. They can't seem to communicate with each other. Or you've got it where the ref's thing's falling off his shoulder and then all of a sudden he doesn't know what to do for 5 minutes. Not that most of the refs do anyway. And it can take up to 7 to 8 minutes oh, pardon me, that was all. To work out whether that was a foul or it was an offside. And then usually they make their mind up. Yeah, that's a foul. They don't just tell the ref it's a foul. They tell the ref to go and look at it. I've got a personal thing with this VAR where I think they should use it like tennis. Everyone has one call, one half. VAR getting used as normal, but everybody has one call in one half of the game. So something happens, VAR don't look at it, and they feel they've been done. They should have the right to put a hand in the air and say, no. We want VAR to look at that. If VAR looks at it and it's a no-go, right, that's your point gone. But you've got 1 point in the second part, in the second half. But if it goes right and it turns out the VAR should have looked at it, they keep their point. I think that would keep a lot of people, I think that would keep a few more people friendly. Managers, players, anyway. Whether it would keep us lot friendly is a different story. I mean, out of the voting today for it, 19 teams, 19 voted for VAR. And I think it was Wolves were the only ones who didn't vote for it. But they was always complaining about it. They always had a problem with it. But then when it comes to the vote for it, they all vote to keep the VAR in. Where's the sense in that? I personally don't understand that one. Corruption has definitely got something to do with it. But what are they planning on doing with the VAR? How are they going to make this better? Because like Robbie said earlier, it's not down to the VAR. It's actually down to the person, to the people who use the VAR. And with that, it's just one moment. Leave it. Just have to give a quick message here. There we go. Working on two sides here at the moment. Yeah, back to what I was saying. And they've got to get the people who do the VAR more trained to what they are doing. The things they say they're going to do with it is try and reduce the time. What do you call try and reduce the time? It's usually about 5 to 8 minutes. So what are they doing? Looking at making it 7 minutes or 4 minutes? Again, we're not going to have a clue until it starts happening. But that is one of the plans they've got, to reduce the time on the VAR. So that is a smart idea in my idea. That is a good point that they should definitely be looking at. How to use it and how to use it faster. How to use it more professional for when it is needed. Other one they're looking at doing is improving the fan experience to it. That one struggles with me because how can you really improve the fans' experience it when you score the goal, you jump up, and then you don't quite know whether to cheer or not anymore because you don't know whether VAR is going to drop in. So you're sort of looking over your shoulder, looking over there. The players are now at standstill, like, okay, I've just screamed that I've scored, but have I actually scored? Was there a dirty tackle 2 minutes down the pitch before I got up here? Nobody knows. So what do they actually mean by improving experience for the fans? Does that mean on the big screens that they're going to put up what the VAR is doing, what they are actually looking at? Would it work? I think it would definitely give people a better idea of what is going on, because you'd at least, because when we're watching it on telly, we get to see what they're all piss-balling about with and everything. At the match, they're oblivious to it. They don't know whether they're coming or going. So if they put it on the big TVs, because I think multiple stadiums now have got big TVs all around it, and show you what they're doing, what they're thinking, what they're trying to get their head round. Yes, I think it will cause arguments. But at least you will be looking at something, having half a clue what goes on. And in that one, for me, that can't really do no bad. I personally think that is a good idea. So that is one I can go with on that side. When it comes to the other things they're talking about, more training, like I said, that comes with reducing the time. Yes, they bloody need more training because most of them, I reckon, me and any other crowd on here could go on there and suss some of that out twice as quick as they could. More communication. Well, what do they mean by more communication? Because they've got the communication, but I think Robbie put it on here perfectly that there's so many of them shouting at each other at the same time, they probably can't even understand each other. So that one is a bit strange for me, that one. How are they going to work that out? They're going to give you 2 AirPods so you can hear one side and so you can hear the other. That's going to do your head in even more. I just struggle with what they're going to do with this VAR to make it better. What they need to do is go to the other countries and learn how the other countries do it, learn how the other sports do it. I mean, what are the downsides of VAR? Some of the decisions on there, you're just, how can you even get that wrong on a VAR? You can blatantly see, like when there's basically a toenail between players, they've got to sort something out with this offside trap as well. It has now become so tight that it's almost impossible to work out who's offside and who's onside. I mean, other things they need to sort out, that handball rule as well. I mean, I don't even understand it anymore. I mean, last time I read it, handball rule was when someone intentionally puts their hand up to the ball. So for me, that makes it 9 out of 10 handballs weren't intentional, so there shouldn't be a handball. If I've understood this wrong, someone please tell me. But that's the way it seems to come across. They need to sort that rule out as well. The positive side of the VAR, because we all know this comes down to money, is when that player is clearly offside, but nobody saw it, and he gets collared offside. Yep, that's the positive side for it. The other positive side for it is when VAR spots a foul that the ref doesn't. That can change the whole system. That can change the goal that's just gone in because a foul was made a minute earlier down the other end of the pitch. That stuff seems to work as well. But overall, personally, I'd just ditch the shit and get on with it. I used to enjoy my arguments with the mates down the pubs. No, he was offside. No, he wasn't offside. And then the fellow who owned the pub would bring up the bit on the screen and pause it. And we'd all stand there and start debating over it quite heatedly. Yes, that was offside. No, it wasn't offside. Yes, that was a foul. No, it wasn't a foul. It's taken half the fun out of football. I mean, when you can't even stand up and cheer anymore and be sure that you've scored a goal every time, it's taking some of the passion out of it. It's killing it. And I think they should just get rid of it. I mean, your opinions on the side, I'd love to go through them, love to see what other people think of this. So I'm a little bit behind again, as usual. So I'm going to start going back to this one. I'll start with you again, Robbie. It's not the idea of the system. It's the problems for me. It's the incompetent cabbages running it. Exactly. I totally agree with that one. And Raymond's son, big up Dan, big up to you too, mate. Destiny 5, always good to see you on here, mate. Evening to you. Clement, big up everyone, big up to you too. And Clement, big up to Dan. Again, big up to you too, mate. Ryan, what you saying here, mate? Are they going to do it like rugby? Would it be helpful? Again, it's what I've said. It's another one of those things. If they just fucking done it properly, we wouldn't have half the problems. But they would still do those problems there where you're still looking over your shoulder every 5 minutes. I just think VAR's got to go. Yes, they can improve it. Yes, it has got good sides to it. But for me personally, get rid of it. Again, people, please do give me your opinions on it. Mo THFC. Of course we need VAR. Not wanting VAR. Us just falling for other teams' propaganda who always get away with it. Don't forget, VAR is for clubs who are about to get cheated on. VAR is important. You know what, mate? That's a solid point. It's a solid point because there are ups and downs to it. Because back in the years, you can always remember that something would happen with Man U. They'd make a foul or whatever else, and they'd just get away with it. Why? Because it was Man U. And it still happened now. Certain things they get away with because they're Man City, because they're Arsenal, because they're Liverpool. Even at one stage, we got away with a few things. I mean, how they did not find that game against Liverpool that goal that Liverpool scored was not offside. A person with a very strong pair of glasses could have noticed that. And that's no insult to anyone with glasses. I have to wear them myself. It was disgusting. But we didn't complain about it too much because it went in our favour. And that's just it with VAR. Sometimes it goes in your favour, sometimes it don't. And Mo THFC, what are you saying here? They should copy whoever dies in Italy. Yes, Italy have got it right. The ref always comes in front of the cameras and explain on field his decision. In England, we protect refs too much. I think that's another solid point you've put there, mate. I mean, in England, the refs are just they're too pussy over here. They really are. Because if I was a ref, and like I've seen in other leagues, German leagues, Spanish league, so, Italian league, definitely, Turkish leagues and that, which can get very violent. But the ref holds his ground. And now you got a player like Haaland come up to you and start screaming in your face. I'm just going to put out a red card on him. Get the fuck out of my face. Get off. Or when you've got 5 players crowding around you. I can imagine that must be a bit intimidating for a ref. But that's where we need that rule on there, that the only 4 people that should be allowed to go to the ref are the 2 captains and the 2 people involved. Anyone else comes over to the ref, yellow card, get away. He comes over to the ref again, yellow card, red card, fuck off. That is how I see that one. And personally, I think that's quite simple. It works in a lot of other countries because you don't see the other ones running up to them. And what's Razor Blazer saying here? The problem isn't VAR. The problem is the people who run it without bias towards the outcome of the match. Need to have an open mic to let the crowd know the reasons for why any call is made. I agree. It's basically what I said earlier. They've got to communicate with the fans better. They've got to do it. Because otherwise us fans are just stuck there wondering what the hell is going on. So again, I'm still get that VAR out. For me, it's just a pain in the ass. And Paul 123, what you saying here, mate? All right, Dan. All right, you too, mate. Hope you're having a good night. Grealish not in England squad. Not sure about that one. Yeah, that's a bit of a strange one. Harry Maguire didn't make it. Now I know a lot of people say Harry Maguire's shit, but for England, he always does the job. He always does, without fail. I think I've seen him play crap once for England. When he plays, England plays more his style. They sit back at a flat back 4 most of the time. And it works for him. Or even when they sit back with flat back 3 at times, it works for him because they stay back. Because one thing that man can't do is run. He's slower than Teddy Sheringham used to be, and that's going at some pace. Or lack of pace, should I say. And yeah, Madders didn't make it either. That does not surprise me in the slightest. The shit season he has had, bar the first 10 games, and then he has possibly been flop of the season. I mean, dare you even say that these days without being called toxic? People think that's toxic, so be it. I just think that's reality. He did. For me, Maddison was the flop of the season because I got so excited with how he was playing, and I'd wanted him for about 2 years. He played excellent for 10 games, had his injury, and then just fell to pieces. But Grealish being left out, yeah, mate. I agree with that, Paul. I think that's a bit of a strange one. Grealish being left out on there. Who have we actually got better? Or even if he got used on the subs bench. I do find that one a bit of a strange one. So something must have happened in the camp. Southgate must have spotted something. Southgate's probably just going to put in another defender there. We all know how he works. I mean, he's the thing is with Southgate, yeah, is he likes to try and play counter-attacking football, defending counter-attacking football, like Conte, like Mourinho. But he ain't got the skill to do it. He ain't got the know-how to do it. He thinks he has, but he hasn't. That game against Italy, in that final, we was 1-0 up. They was rattled, and they was rattled big time. We should have gone for the kill there. No, what did we do? Sit back. Gave the Italians time to get their head together, gave the Italians time to get a bit of energy together. Lo and behold, it's 1-1, and then with about 5 minutes to go, he makes 2 subs where we go for the attack. Where's the logic in that? I must admit, this Euros is ours for the taking, bar maybe France. But England, they're just like Spurs, really, the way I look at England. I mean, you look at Spurs, we're the 7th biggest club in the world, money-wise. It's purely down to money, that one. But if you also look at it, the way I see it, again, going to be negative, I think we're the biggest big club, so we're called, underachieving club on this planet. We don't win nothing. We don't get nothing. 1 trophy in 25 years, coming up for 25 years. And we're considered a top 7 team, purely down to money. So now let's transfer it over to England. We basically invented the bloody game. And we have had some excellent teams out there. But then in those times, there were some very savage teams out there, like the Spanish. They were good. Very good. The Germans, always quality. Always were. Always loved the way they play. I mean, you could stick a blindfold over all of them, run them, spin them around 10 times on the pitch, and they still knew what they had to do, and they still knew where everyone else would be. The Germans' tactics, they are just as good as the Italians at it. When it comes to tactical football, for me, you don't beat Germans and you don't beat Italians. But then we also had teams we had to play like Barcelona, when they had Ronaldo, Rivaldo, and Ronaldinho. You can't really hold it on him that much. But over the past 6 years, bar maybe France, because even Belgium had a brilliant team, but they didn't do nothing with it. We should have at least won 1 competition out of that. And same old England, same old Spurs sort of thing. They just, when it comes to the crunch, they can't do it. Let's hope we can do it in the Euros. I mean, I'm going to be very involved in the Euros. Going to have my mates over for a couple of drinks and that, watch the games, maybe go down the pub and doing it. I'm not going to be doing the talk along on here because I want to watch the bloody game and have a few drinks doing it. Any other people who want to do it on here and do the talk through, fair play. But that one is not for me. Oh, so Paul 123. All right, Dan Grealish not in squad. Not sure about that. Yes, I read that one. Sorry, that's why I'm 1 step behind myself here. Mo THFC, VAR is a total to get justice. If the shit refs in England don't see a foul. Yeah, but how many times has the VAR spotted something and it's been crap as well? Or it's taken them half hour to sort the bloody thing out? How can that be good either? I don't feel they help each other. They need to work together more. They need to learn how to work that system better. And Mo, you're saying there, Crazy Blazer, exactly. It's time to do ref transfers and get foreign refs in. Yeah. I mean, does anyone remember? I am terrible with names. That bald ref in Italy, the one that the world respected. When he said jump, they said how high. No one confronted him. No one went round him because he used to just put the yellow card on him and say, get out my face or you're off this pitch. And I cannot remember was it Collini? I cannot remember his name. But that was what you call a real referee. And Paul 123, you're saying here, get rid of VAR, ruins games, ruins celebrations. Yeah, same for me, mate. It does the same thing. And again, you're saying here, it's like standing in a line for groceries and hoping the card doesn't decline. That's why I usually check out my card before I do it. But then when you got things like VAR there, you just never know, do you? And Desiree Kalako, if I've said your name right, I'm terrible with pronouncing names, like I said, fella. He's saying a big thanks to Ryan McF. And again, big thanks for what you've done there, mate. It is well appreciated. Mark Cousins, how you doing, mate? I hope everything's good to you. Big up, Dan. Mo THFC. Is it the ref's fault or is it VAR that takes ages to decide? For me, it's the VAR, because you can even stand there and you can even see that it is the refs who are standing there like, what is going on? They've got the players round them. They've got the fans screaming at them. They've got everything going at them. And they're standing there like, they don't know what's going on either. That is where they got to get this communication shit better. That is one of the few things that makes me have a bit of sympathy for a ref. And Paul says that Mo, not for me, mate. And Mo THFC at Paul123 until you get robbed a goal. It's true. It's going to work with you and it's going to work against you at times. It always does. Destiny 5. Why is England the only league to have issues with VAR unless we don't hear about it in other league issues? Because the other leagues don't. Once in a blue moon. German leagues, no problem. Italian leagues, no problems you hear of. Spanish leagues, maybe one or two problems you hear of. And any of the others that use it, they use it properly. We don't. They don't seem to have the training. And that's that. And Alex got experience. I'm not even going to try and translate that, mate. I'm not even going to put my effort into that one. And at Desire Coco, you're welcome. That's Ryan for giving him the subscribe or membership. And what you're saying here, Alex Scott, I don't care about VAR. I never want to hear the word VAR again. I'm with you on this one, mate. I'm truly with you on this one. What I'm going to do here, what I do on a lot of shows, because I actually am a person that likes to hear other people's opinions. Whereas I find a lot of other people's can't handle people's other opinions. So I'm going to put a link on here. Anyone wants to come on and give their opinion about VAR, whatever, there's the link. Just put it down. You're more than welcome. And Hadrian's Wall, big up Danny, big up to you too. He's a good Ebenezer. I don't know whether to laugh at that one or not, mate. I know exactly what you mean. The Alex Scott experience. All I want to see once in my life is Spurs winning a league trophy. That is how sad it has got at Spurs. That is how bad. And people say about negative and that, but how can anyone be that? I'd done a show last night with a pint, half full, half empty. And between the four of us on there, we actually managed to make it up. That it is half empty, half full, whatever way you want to look at it. But there is positives and negatives to last season. Definitely. There are some positives there. But on the Spurs winning the trophy thing, this is all going to depend on how Ange goes about it. Now, I think quite a few people here know my opinion on this one, but I'll say it again. League One this year, don't bother me too much. As long as we don't finish lower than 7th, I can take that on one condition, that we win a cup. Go for that League Cup. That is the one we can get. Go for the FA Cup. Yes, that one's going to be a nightmare. But the one I want us to go for is that Europa Cup, because it will keep everybody happy. The fact that it's a cup, we'll be happy. The fact that it's a European Cup, we'll be even happier. Because I think the Europa Cup is now at its biggest point, where it is now equal to what the UEFA Cup used to be. Because the UEFA Cup used to be quite a big cup as well. People weren't embarrassed to go in it. People didn't throw crap in it. And that was more the Cup Winners' Cup. And it's got a bit of extra money in it now. Also, you don't get the hand-me-downs from... Oh, that coffee. You don't get the hand-me-downs from the Champions League, whatever. It is what it is. It's there now. You're playing who you're playing. And if we go and win that, like I said, We got a trophy, we got a European trophy, and we're in the Champions League. That's us happy. That's Mr. Levy happy. Not that I really give a shit about the geezer, but like it or not, he is Spurs. He basically owns it. So we finished 7th, but we get that Europa Cup, which I feel we are more than capable of doing when you look at some of the teams in there. I mean, Man U's going to be in there. Man U are going to pick up. Man U are going to get better. I mean, they finished 8th and they still done an FA Cup, for God's sake, against one of the best teams in Europe. Even though I don't think City was up to standards this year, not up to their standards anyway, and they still won the league. But Man U proved that you can go in there, play a top club, and you can win. Why can't we win that UEFA Cup, that Europa Cup? It will keep everybody happy. That is what I want to see my man go for. I don't want to see him putting in like the youth players and that for that cup and use it purely for that cup. I want to see him go hell for leather to get that cup, hands down. To me, that one is more important than the league. But it's personal opinion at the end of the day. I just think it's something that keeps everybody happy. And Tony Rodriguez, referee exchange between the 5 biggest leagues. Yeah, I don't think our referees would last 5 minutes in Italia, in the Italian league. Not a chance. Remember Paul Mendes at Old Trafford when United were in their pomp? Yes, I do. Alex, what you saying here? Are we coming to the stage where the game will be we are coming to the stage where the game will be unwatchable? Laugh out loud. Very true. If VAR becomes that big in this, which it already is big, you're just going to be stopping and starting a game every 2 minutes. That is why they have got to get their act together and get it working properly. And Alex saying here, I'd love to hear the ref say, oi, no, turn it on. And fuck, or you're getting a red. I can agree with that one as well, mate. Pep ruined Jack Grealish's natural start. That was a player we could have had for 20 million if Levy wouldn't have pissballed about. But no, he had to try and save himself 2-3 million. I don't think Grealish's style quite suits what Pep wants at Man City. He gets certain jobs done, but the main way he wants the players to play these days seems to be fast and cutting in. That's not Jack Grealish. That's not how he plays. I think Jack Grealish would do very well with us. But even if Man City put him up for sale, would I see us getting him? Not a chance. Even if he went for cheap, and what I say cheap, like 60 million, because for someone like Jack Grealish, that's cheap. But would I see us paying his wages? Never. Even though we've just gone and paid Timo Werner 165 grand, Jack Grealish is going to be wanting 300 grand. That's not going to happen. And Hadrian's Ball, what are you saying here, mate? Disagree with the critics of VAR saying it kills the game. It adds drama to the game. Yeah, but mate, it's drama that game don't need. Football's got plenty of drama as it is. It's got plenty to debate about as it is. And watching a game, when you watch a game, when you work it out, a lot of the time, you're only watching about 70 minutes of football. The rest of it is VAR pissballing about, or the players on the side taking their time to throw the ball in, or taking their time to take a penalty, or taking their time to take a free kick. That is why I think there's another rule that should be on there, and I think that worked very well in the World Cup, was as soon as the ball is out of play, stop the watch. As soon as the ball is kicked and back into play or thrown back into play, start the watch. If that ends up they've got to play an extra 12 minutes in that half, my heart bleeds. They shouldn't be pissballing about so much as they are. Like the goalkeepers stand there for 5 seconds, 10 seconds. I know they get a yellow card for it, but they also get away with it as well. And Alex got experience. Maddison must be missing Vardy and Barnes, 2 quality strikers. Quite possibly, but he did have a shit second start of the season. How he even actually got picked for that England team, actually, surprised me quite a lot. And just a harmless potato. Good evening. Big up, Dan. Hope you're doing good for yourself, mate. Alex, what you saying here? Madison has to play with Kulu, Johnson, and Werner, who are absolute pants. I know that, but you can't tell me Madison was good. I personally think half of the problem is the way Ange plays with the inverted wingers. Inverts them up to a number 10 position. Then we got the outside so-called wingers inverting in as well. And then you got Madison stuck in the middle, and he's got a man 5 yards there, a man 5 yards there, 2 men there, and a striker over there. He hasn't got much option of where to put the bloody ball, has he? And that's what you need your playmaker to do, to be free, to be able to sit there and say, right, he's over there, he's over there, he's over there. Where do I put this direct pass to? Playing that way, he doesn't seem to have that option because everybody is around him. Everywhere is so compact up front. Even the midfielders, the 2 central mids, are literally standing behind him if he's in the number 10 position. And then you got the defenders on the halfway line as well. It is so compact up there. How can you be a playmaker when you've got no space to pass the bloody ball? I think that's why he started doing a Harry Kane, which we know Harry Kane done it for different reasons. But that's why I think he started doing a Harry Kane and coming back on himself a bit more to try and give himself more space to pass to. But where he's further back, it makes it harder to make the pass. It's another player that we didn't really use him to his full capability. Same as we don't with Porro, same as we don't with Udogie, same as we don't with Kulusevski. And I know a lot of people don't like Kulusevski, but go play him as an attacking midfielder or a false 9, or go and play him as a target man with his back to goal. He will do a very good job. He did it at Juventus. Ronaldo loved him when he played target man and false 9, and Ronaldo basically run past him. He's got the strength to hold that ball up back to goal. Then he can have the wingers come in either side of him, tap it that way, or he can have the striker coming at him, he can tap it to the side of him there, or whatever way it goes. Kulusevski is not as bad as people think. It's just when you play him out of position, a left-footed player on the right-hand side, and then wonder why every time he gets the ball, he taps it onto his left foot and the defender already knows he's going to do it, so he steps to the right. People grill him for it. I've grilled him for it. He's so predictable. But my man is left-footed, for fuck's sake. So, of course, he's going to have to do that on the right-hand side. Because he is so one-footed. That's not his fault. You don't get many players out there like Son that are just as good with their left and just as good with their right. That is one of the things that makes Son, that is his world-class standard. Now, a lot of people know. I don't rate Son as a world-class player. Overall, no, he's not. But when it comes to his clinical finishing and the way he can use both feet, yes, he's got world-class standards. But he's not an overall world-class player. But then when you play a player on the right who has just got no use of his right foot, really, and he's meant to, it makes no common sense. Not to me. If Ange can see something in it, fair enough. I mean, from what I heard in Italy, even Conte wanted to go in for Kulusevski to get him up at Napoli. So that's got to show you something. The boy's got something, but I just don't feel we use him to his potential. And it's like a thing I mentioned the other day. You go and get an average team, good team, but an average sort of team. Get that formation right. Get those players playing the way they are best at. So get Porro playing overlapping. Get Udogie playing overlapping. An average team. You can make that average team a very, very strong team. If everyone is playing to the formation, to the way they know best how to play and the way they know how to do it. You can get teams like Atalanta looking very, very good. They've done it over the past couple of years in Italy. And they've had some good players, but they've been a very okay team. But they've looked miles and punched above their weight because they all know what they're doing. They're all in their perfect positions. And it's a perfect formation which matches the players that are playing on that pitch. It does work. Look at Leverkusen. Yeah, they had some very good players, but if you want to put them player for player standards, they didn't even touch Bayern Munich. One or two players maybe, but they got it right again. They got every player in their perfect position, had a formation that worked for every player who was playing in his perfect position, and they absolutely terrorized that league. You've got to take your hats off to them, because Bayern Leverkusen ain't even a big club. If I remember right, I think that's about the third trophy they've ever won. Maybe fourth. I mean, if someone knows different, tell me. But I know they haven't won a lot. I think that's the first time they've actually ever won the league. They didn't just win it, they absolutely smashed it. They went undefeated. Their only defeat was in the Europa Cup. Yeah, a bit of a letdown, but you've just won the league and you've just won the cup in your league, and that I'm sure you're happy. But again, that is my point. Get an average team, good team, play them in the right positions, play the right formation, you can really get something out of it. You can make them punch above their weight. And Raider Yid, big up Dan, big up to you too, mate. Hope everything's good. You're always on there. It's much appreciated. Maddison deserves to work with better quality players. Yes, but he's also got to perform as well. And if you go start getting the ump with the players around you and everything, I can understand that you haven't got the quality around you to do what you want, but at least bloody try it. It got to a point where Maddison didn't even look like he was trying. For me, he was flop of the season. Now, we can all say Basuma was the flop of the season. He was. I mean, that player mugged me off. I was the one at the start stating that Basuma is better than Bentancur at controlling the game. And I still think he is. But he ain't got the mentality for it. I was screaming at Conte, why aren't you playing Basuma? When he played at Brighton, he bossed big games against Man City, against us, against Arsenal, Chelsea, City. He totally bossed it in midfield. And then he comes to us, starts doing that for about 8 or 9 games, looking wicked with Maddison, where they was even said they were the best 2 midfielders in the Premiership at that time, which we all knew they weren't the best, but they were playing the best. And then again, 1 injury, 1 red card, and the whole system fell to shit. And then they never came back. They never came back from it. And Wayne Francis 2-3. Good evening, Dan. Good evening to you too, mate. England is so Spursy, mate. That's exactly what I basically just said. They are. We're the same thing. We're meant to be some of the biggest ones on the planet, and we do absolutely fuck all. And who's this? Marshall. VAR does my head in too. Yeah, same as it does most of the people. And what most of the people have said on the side, I would definitely say that most people are saying VAR out. But you're always going to say some that are in. It's opinion. And what's Adrian saying here? Funny you should say that, Wayne. Tottenham has provided the most England internationals. Just about says it all, really, then, doesn't it? No, England gets hyped every international for competition, only to flop every time. Yeah, we do get overhyped. Why? Because it's England. Same as I think a lot of the English players get well overhyped. Like all of a sudden they're a world-class player. And they're far from world-class. Take Saka, for instance. Very good player. And has got potential to get even better. But for world-class, no, not for me. Not yet. Not when you've got a little bit of age on your side and you've seen people like David Beckham. When you've seen people like Ryan Giggs. When you've seen people play on the wings like Figo, Ronaldinho. When you've seen people play in the middle like Royale. When you've seen strikers like Batistuta, Shevchenko, Henry Crespo, Ibrahimovic. Now we're talking world-class players. Most of these ones we call world-class players now. And 1 second. Now we call them world-class players, and they are nothing compared to what those other players used to be. Absolutely nothing. But again, it's people's opinions. This is where I feel football has actually gone down. I'm not saying we haven't got world-class players out there, but most of the players we would actually call world-class, they wouldn't even tickle the boots of the ones I mentioned there. Not a chance in hell. And what's Wayne saying here? Harridan, I ponder myself whether we are cursed. England, Spurs, cursed. It could. I mean, I'll tell you one. Harry Kane. Is he cursed? I could honestly believe the man is cursed. Because of all the clubs you go to on this planet, it's either PSG or Bayern Munich. You're winning something. Season in, season out. Bayern Munich, 11 years on the trot, win that league. Yep, they got a bit rattled the season before by Dortmund, but they still muscled it out and done it. And then Harry Kane goes there, has a spectacular season as a striker, and gets nothing. Is that man cursed? And then of all things, he gets Eric Dyer joining him. I bet he must have been happy with that. And Collina, that is the one. Pellegrini Collina, that is for me, that is the all-time referee. That fella took no shit off no one, and everybody knew it. Even when you saw him in the international games and everything else, you'd see 2 or 3 players go round him, maybe 4, and straight away he would go, fuck off, fuck off, fuck off, you get over to me. Straight away they'd walk off. They wouldn't confront him, nothing. The fella was hard, simple as that, and they knew it. And they knew he didn't mess about. He'd quite happily give him a red card if they even give him a dirty face. That is a referee. And he was a world-class referee. That is what we need in England. In Italy, the managers are very, very good. The referees are very, very good, especially compared to our shit. But yes, that one, Pellegrini Collina, he was the world-class all-time referee, in my opinion. And like others are saying here, saying his name and that, and Mo THFC, yeah, he was a great manager, and he was good to watch in a football match to manage the game. Because he gets the job done. And 9.9 times out of decisions you couldn't fault because he got them right. He made sure that game run properly. He gave cards when they were meant to. He let it off when he was meant to. He kept those games running. And some people thought the fella was basically mad. But he didn't take no shit. That is why, one of the reasons he was such a good referee. And what you're saying here, Robert Wilson, got to agree, Dan, it's us or France. It is us or France. France are the only ones who have got the sort of players that can match what we've got. But good old England will go Spursy. Englandsy, whatever you want to bloody call it. We all know there's a high chance that happens. And Brian, big up to you too, mate. Big up to the chat and my brother Dan on screen. Hope you are all well. All cushy, mate. Everything's sweeter at the moment. And I hope you're doing good for yourself as well. Mo THFC. I want to come on, but I'm out working, listening. Next time I will jump on. Not a problem, mate. You ever want to do, leave a message. Like I say, I like to bring my crowd involved in here because I like to hear everyone's opinions. Doesn't mean I'm going to agree with it, but I like to hear people's opinions. I like to try and get their opinion. Like I've said on enough things, I haven't got to understand the opinion because some things you go through you would just never understand unless it happened to you. But you can still get it. And some people, you haven't got to respect someone else's opinion. Purely opinionated, this one, yeah? I haven't got to respect nothing. I've just got to show the person common courtesy and accept that he's got a different opinion to me. How is that hard? Too many people just see it their way, tunnel vision, and they just don't want to see another way. And it happens all the time. I've been guilty of it myself at times. But then there's been a lot of times where I think a few people on here can vouch for me, where someone has not given me a fact, but they've given me an opinion, and I've sat back, thought about the opinion, and thought, you know what? That opinion is actually better than mine. It's actually got some solid points to it. So what do? You put your hands up and you say, fair play, mate. I'll give you that one. Can a lot of people do that? No, they can't. But then there's a lot of people out there who can do it. I suppose it's just we're all unique, I think is the word at the end of the day. Just waiting for my Mary Brown delivery fried chicken. Afterwards, I'll come on and join you if that's okay. Of course, it's okay, mate. I've already just making sure that I've sent you the link. Yes, I have, mate. If you want to jump on, Brian, feel free, mate. Mr. Daigle in the house, big up. And again, Peter, hi again, Brian. I take it you was just watching him on the previous show with me. And Peter, the Alex experience like that. And Ray the Yid, yes. BD in the house, jump on, buddy. And I'm trying to catch up with this side now. I just could never understand how people got so far behind the crowd. If you give everybody on the crowd 1 minute of an answer, you're nearly 30 minutes behind. It's impossible to keep up with it. And then when you're talking with someone, it's even harder because then you can just only put them on there and half them you can't even read out. I just could never understand how someone found that hard. Well, I find that hard. Some people don't, but I definitely do. Right, Mo THFC, what are you saying here? Should we demand Ange to do next year, for me, at least quarter-final league, cup, at least quarter-final league of the cup, of FA Cup, and top four? We have to set goals next year, or want to have pressure to perform. The problem I've got with this one is, like I say, I've got more the attitude of, do you know what, fuck the league off and go for that League Cup. FA Cup, I don't think we stand much of a chance on because then you've always got the Liverpool, Arsenal, City in it. League Cup, they're not so bothered about, except Man City. And Liverpool do love a League Cup as well. But that would be the one we'd be strongest at getting. But get me that Europa Cup. Go for it. If you're playing Arsenal next, if you're playing Chelsea next or whatever, and you know that you're doing all right in the league, do you know what? Play your best players in that Europa Cup. I don't care whether it's over in Croatia. I don't care whether it's over in bloody Ukraine, Russia. I don't care whether it's over there, wherever. Play your best players in that Europa Cup. Play it to win. Because like I said, everybody will be happy. Silverware for Spurs. European silverware at that, and it shuts that prick Daniel Levy up because then he's in the Champions League, so he'll have nothing to complain about. I'm sure the prick still finds something to complain about, but that's what pricks do. I mean, that's the difference. I'm a prick, I know it, but the difference is I'm a fucking prick, and that's better than just being a prick. But again, personal opinion. I enjoy being a fucking prick. Brian, how we doing, mate? Good to see you.
Mate, I've just had some fried chicken. Fried chicken, to me, honestly, my wife sometimes says to me, if I don't have fried chicken once a month, it's like her with a monthly cycle. So I've had it. I'm replenished. I'm good to go. The world.
What's that? Where the chocolate is needed?
Yeah, mate. Exactly. Honestly, if I don't have fried chicken, I start getting really, really. It's an addiction. Listen, of all the addictions I've had, to have one to fried chicken is one she endorses. So I've just had it. I feel very, very good, and always a pleasure to be with you on your show. And once again, I apologise to you privately. I apologise for not promoting your show at the end of the
mate. It was the last moment. You was already saying leave it out. You was never going to see that, mate. So that's
a good way to gauge where I was in the show. If I was already saying that, you know it's the end.
Exactly, and it's neither here nor there to me, mate. So how you doing anyway, in general?
In general, I'm starting to feel a little bit better on myself.
Good.
Doing a bit more work. Tomorrow, big results for my brain CT scan, so we'll see what they say. But I've decided that I'm not going to let this beat me, and I'm going to try doing like the shows I've done today at 1 p.m. my time, and then joining you is a lot easier on my body than getting up at 4 a.m. to make sure I'm doing something for England time at 9 a.m. So I was doing that non-stop for about 4 months. So
it's not healthy.
I must admit, the last couple of weeks, I've started to feel slightly better. But all this does do is when I'm off the camera, I'm exhausted, but not exhausted all throughout the day. So hopefully some progress is coming.
I mean, that's one thing I always realise, that since I've only really been doing this properly, my own show, for about 2 months now, 3 months now. And yes, jumping off of other shows can be here, there and everywhere. But one thing I think a lot of people don't realise on the side who don't actually do it, and that's no disrespect to no one, it's one of those things that you don't actually understand it unless you do it. You might get it, but you don't understand it. Doing this shit can really take the energy out of you. It can make you feel mentally drained, can't it?
Well, Dan, what you got to remember, Dan, is there's different facets to it. If you go on as a guest and you're like, oh, do you know what? I'll just go on a few streams and have my say. It's a lot of fun. A lot of people have felt so nervous coming on, but once they've done, like, do you know what? And that you can be on a stream for a long time. But what you forget when you're a content creator and you have your own show, when you're not on, you're thinking about thumbnails, you're thinking about content, you're thinking about what guests, you're thinking about what time. It literally is a whole thing, and it can be exhausting. It can be exhausting. I will never know like you, Dan, because you've come on and taken over from Tommy. Said what you put out is what you put out. Thankfully, when I wasn't feeling well, I had Brian Ireland, I had Ben, there's people there to carry it. But people like yourself, who are a one-man band, it's a lot of work and a lot of effort and it's time-consuming. It's really time-consuming.
One thing I say about what you said there, I'll sort of half you on that one, a one-man band. Yeah, maybe on the channel, but the amount of support I've had off of you doing this, the amount of support I've had off of, I don't know, Del Sav has come on my show, D-Trix, and there's quite a few others I could name. I'm terrible with names. Robbie comes on from Lily White.
Yeah.
Even Jacob came on last night, and I was more than happy to have him on there. I hadn't done a show with him before. And personally, I think me and Jacob actually, when we've talked on the side and that, it seems like we confront quite a bit. It was actually weird to realise that I was actually agreeing with more of what he said than what he didn't say. And he basically said the same thing.
Well, you know what it is, Dan, you know what is a huge thing of this as well, and it is a massive thing is, and I find it on Twitter as well. You got to remember, Twitter, the cesspool it is, there's no getting away from it, but you're limited to a character limit. Like you are when people write in this chat. You can't write a massive essay and get your point across. You got to try and condense it into however many characters YouTube or Twitter allows you. Platforms like Facebook, you can write an essay. So you've got your time, whether you're right or you're wrong, you can get what you're trying to say over a lot clearer, and there's no, I've got to try and shorten it. The amount of times where I've tried to write something on YouTube or Twitter, and I don't have the time to do these threads where people write like 17 things, and fair play to the ones that do. They've got the time.
They basically write a fucking book, innit?
Yeah. I one of the things I suffer with, again, with ADD is patience. My patience is normally, so I cannot be asked. People will know, and Dan, you'll know, and Ray, who's in the chat, will definitely know. I am known within WhatsApp or whatever for always leaving voice notes. I can't be asked to type. I'm lazy. And you also,
know what?
Also though, Dan, when you type, if you do a voice note, you are gathering the tone of my voice, whether I'm joking, whether I'm serious, whether I'm pissed, whether I'm shouting. You type something and it leaves question marks. Like, is he pissed off with me, or is he taking it?
It does.
So because voice notes are the best.
Like, you're the one that has actually started me to slowly get into voice notes. Now, the way I talk as a person, the way I come across in there, I mean, the way I call it slated, whatever, and that, like, I'm meant to sound like and look like Danny Dyer, and Brian just shut the fuck up. And don't worry, it's a personal thing with me and Brian there. I knew exactly what he was going to say, so just shut up. And but if you actually talk to me on text messages and you don't know me, you wouldn't actually believe it's me you're talking to.
Yeah.
Because I'm quite how do I put it? I get my expressions right on there. I'm quite well smart typed on there. And then sometimes you can look at something on the typing and you think, did they actually mean what they were just saying, or were they trying to say something else? And I totally get the point of what you're saying. So just going back to a couple more people on there, got a question off Anthony. Do you think they should do audio when they do VAR decisions so you can hear what's being said? That's exactly what I said earlier. That is one of the things they are meant to be planning on doing, on keeping the fans more involved, more into it as such. I mean, Brian,
yes.
I've already talked about it for about 3/4 an hour. What is your opinion on this VAR thing? I'm sure you know about it and what they're planning on changing and everything else. What do you reckon, mate?
So first of all, we spoke about on my show earlier. Now, for me, I'm surprised, excuse me, that the automated offside or semi-automated, whatever it's called, that people didn't want it in last season. I think it's game changing. You've seen it in the Champions League and whatever. We've seen it in the last World Cup. It deals with it in seconds. Mm-hmm. It doesn't need the lines. It automated. It can do it with the technology we have in seconds. The main thing that always concerns me with the VAR and with these rule changes is you got to remember, people like yourself and me, Dan, that may not be able to go to the games and watch it at home or watch it in a pub or watch it whatever. We get to see all the replays all the time. May not agree with what they're doing or how long it's taking, but we see all the replays. The people around the world that are in the stadium haven't got a clue. They just see VAR, possible offside or possible penalty or possible no goal or whatever. And then they're kept in the dark for ages. That's where I really want to see VAR improve for the people that are in there that pay their hard-earned money, whether it be a home game or a away game or whatever. That's where they've got to improve it. And if it improves there, then all for it. But again, it's you see it around the world. It's how we use it. The technology is there. The people running it just are clueless.
It's like having a car and the person can't drive, isn't it?
Yeah.
That is basically bang on what it's about. And until they get that shit started, I'd be happier without VAR if I'm going to tell the truth. It's all good when it goes in your way, but when it don't go your way, it obviously hurts. But sometimes they get the right decisions right, and it's like fair play. But I find more they get the decisions wrong.
Well, the thing is as well, Dan, I put it this way: if I'd been one of the football chairmen, I would have voted against it. I would, because I'd rather go back to the old day where, I'd like the automated offside to stay, because that is I really do endorse that. But I'd get rid of it because we've seen it before. Yes, you may get a decision go your way, but it's kind of accepted, and normally it would kind of pan out. Like I said, I would rather be done with it. I really would. But it's here. It's staying. It's not going anywhere. It's just a case of hoping it was used better, isn't it?
But there's the hope that it will get used better. But the question is, will it get used better? Nothing over here in England seems to ever get used better.
Well, the thing is, well, Dan, is you got to remember, we were advertised. What I was going to say, when it came in, it was advertised it was going to be clear and obvious decisions. That's what we were told. Clear and obvious. If it had been led to literally, it became every single goddamn decision. It just took over. And I think a lot of it was because the referees were like, do you know what? I've got this insurance policy. I can revert back to VAR. So if I get a decision wrong, hopefully that's got my back. It's never been used in England as it was promised to come in and help the game. It took over the game. Hasn't helped it. It's taken over it, in my opinion.
No, I agree. And just a quick point I want to put out here quickly. Again, I want to thank you again, Ryan, for putting the 5 gifted memberships on here. It's really appreciated. So what I've gone and done on here, because it's quite a few regular people on here at the moment, since it is a bit of a smaller show, I've just put another 5 on there myself. Whoever gets them, good luck to you. Because I don't know how it works on who gets them. It must be YouTube that
it's random, yeah. It just picks it at random.
Yeah. But Yeah, that VAR is so frustrating. You can go on about it all day fucking long. And you can weigh the ups and you can weigh the downs. But when it comes down to it, for me, it's got to go. And they'll tell Cockerell, evening Dan and all your chatters, evening to you, mate.
Yep.
Hope everything's good going for you. Sorry I couldn't come on the show with Ellie this morning. I was down at the osteopath, but fully enjoyed doing the show with her and Adrian yesterday. Very civil, very laid back, and sometimes it is nice to just have a nice chat on here. Don't get me wrong, I love a good debate, I love a good argument, but what happens on the pitch stays on the pitch for me. And just harmless potato, 4 Crystal Palace players have been named for England. 4. Let that sink in. Eze, I can't even pronounce the other surname. Yeah. Dean Henderson and Adam Wharton. I think Nicholas Pope would have got into it from Newcastle if he wasn't injured. I think he's a better keeper than Pickard, personally.
Well, I actually, literally, before Vicario and before all the rumours, I wanted Dean Henderson to be Spurs' number 1. I was
Nick Pope.
I wanted him. But listen, Guehi is at a... Listen, you got to remember when we had the time where we were dominated by England players with Poch, those four players are there on the merit. Especially, I'm so happy to see Wharton going. Wharton, Joe, when you look at Adam Wharton, who was picked up from Blackburn, we had scouted him already. This isn't me going on a Tottenham Levy rant or anything. Wharton was scouted, and he has gone into Crystal Palace and been incredible in the Premier League. Absolutely incredible. And there are players there that you can get. And I'm telling you now, the one that's being mentioned with us from Middlesbrough, Hayden Hackney, don't knock it. Don't knock it. Hayden Hackney is going to be a player. But we're doing it because it's the Championship, and there are some real genuine talent down there if they go into the right club with the right management. And Adam Wharton, who's gone in, wasn't bought by Glasner, but obviously he's been exceptional for Crystal Palace. I'm delighted he is someone that has played his way into that England team, just the same as Maddison has played himself out of it. Wharton deserves a hell of a lot of respect. I'm delighted that he's going. I really am.
Well, there's a couple of other teams out there as well in Europe. Just going back to that one that people are saying are going to be quite dangerous. Holland. I don't think. Do you know what? Holland are quite similar to England, except Holland have won something. They have had some of the greatest players ever, in my opinion. I've always liked Holland as my second team because some of the way they just used to play the football. And they're starting to slowly get back on their feet, aren't they?
Yeah, listen, the very, very first football tournament I can remember watching as a kid live was Euro 88 when Van Basten scored that volley against Russia.
I was only 7 years old when I see that.
I was 9. I was 9. I can remember World Cup 86, but I could obviously we know Lineker, the hand of God, but I remember Euro 88 and how poor England were. We were really poor. And from then on in, and then when my dad told me about Cruyff and everything, never, ever underestimate the Dutch. Never, ever, ever underestimate the Dutch. They may not have been as good as they are in the last few tournaments or even made it. Write them off at your peril.
There's one team I can state worse than that, and that's the Germans. You never, ever, ever write off the Germans. That is the rule I always learn. Yes, they have been total pants for the past couple of years. But one thing, I agree with you on what you said about Holland, but I think Germany are a step ahead of them on that one.
Well, remember, they're the host nation as well, Dan. Never, ever underestimate the host nation in anything.
Yeah, very true. It's gonna be an interesting Euros because I think the main two teams that stand out is us and France. Yeah, but there's some very good other teams out there who could quite happily pop out of nowhere, like you said with Holland, possibly Germany getting a bit better. Spain are starting to look better with their young boys. There's a few teams out there that could pop out of nowhere and say, thank you, I'll have that.
Yep. Yeah, listen, I will say, Dan, I'm very excited about England. Forget the manager. We've had the golden generation that should have won something. I'm sorry, the way I'd be looking at it with England, I know Southgate won't.
That golden generation, Brian, sorry to interrupt you. Yeah, that golden generation, do you know what that was for me?
Go on.
Too many Chiefs and not enough Indians. That's the old saying.
Well, you know, it's
That's
the
what
whole
didn't work for them.
The whole Lampard, Scholes, Gerrard thing. I mean, putting Scholes on the left was just the biggest waste of talent ever, internationally. But you look
very underrated player as well. Oh,
incredible! But listen, out of the three of them, I love Steven Gerrard. Steven Gerrard for me was the best out of the three of them. But that's a debate that goes on and on. But you look at England now. You look at Declan Rice, who's had an astonishing season for that lot, unfortunately. But then you look at Bellingham, you look at Foden, you look at Palmer, you look at the attacking players that we have going to this tournament. I really hope we don't do a Gareth Southgate, let's sit on it and whatever. If this team were literally allowed to be let off the leash and attack, that front line and Rice at the base, that team has got real potential.
Do you know who would be perfect for this team?
Go on.
Ange.
Yeah.
His style of play would actually fit this England team down to a fucking... It would.
It would.
Defence, yes, we would get cooked. But his mentality of you score 3, we score 4, like an old Kevin Keegan.
Yeah.
We have got that capability up front.
Correct.
And I think Ange's way would actually work with his bloody England team. Same as I say Conte's way would work better with this Spurs team.
Yeah, it is. Honestly, you look at we've got into tournaments where we've had Harry Kane, and obviously he's and he still is the main man. But Phil Foden this season has been absolutely unbelievable. You look at Jude Bellingham. You look at Cole Palmer may have only scored mainly penalties. Cheers, Beth. But he's at the attacking prowess England have right now. If they get let off the leash, they will cause problems. It's just whether they are allowed to go do what they need to do, because that attack really excites me for England. Really does.
It's our strongest point, so use it.
Big time. I'm
always one to say the negative side. You've got to watch your bad sides. Yeah, you've got to fix your bad sides. But we haven't really got nothing at England who can fix those bad sides. So we've just got to go in all guns blazing, I think, and we have got more than the capability to do it up there. I mean, I think Saka's gonna not necessarily struggle for his place, but Palmer can give him a run for his money there.
100%.
But I think our star player there, who could be our star player there, I don't even think it's Bellingham. And don't hold me back. I think Bellingham. I think he's the dog's bollocks, mate. But for me, it's Foden.
Oh, I'm with you.
Who can really, really make something out of this.
I'm totally with you.
Because they use Foden on the left. Like I say, we should use Maddison on the left. I'm not saying they're as good, but he can also come into the middle. He can also cover the right. And that would mean Bellingham can sit back a little bit when it starts coming at us, because another thing Bellingham can do, he can play box to box. He can play attacking midfield playmaker. He has got world-class player to be written all over him.
Oh,
not quite world-class yet, but definitely not a million miles from it. And that England team, I mean, what do you think about Harry Maguire being left out of it? For me, that was a bit of a strange one. It is,
because he seems to have depended on him a lot, doesn't he?
I think he's a solid player for England because of Southgate's style. Sit back and stay there, and where the man can't run, come loved or money, even Teddy Sheringham would have outdone him in the sprint. I think it's perfect. I think it's perfect for him, and we all know how slow Teddy was, especially for a striker. It's just he was 4 steps ahead in the head, wasn't he?
At least 4 steps. But what I will say with that, Dan, is what you got to remember is I think we can all say that this will be Gareth Southgate's last English tournament or major tournament. I don't think he sees a World Cup. I think he goes after this tournament. Maybe he said, you know what, I'm just going to go. Maybe he said, you know what, it's my last one. Let's go out with a bang. I have to say, Mark Wehi has come in and done very, very, very well. I really like him as a player. The one thing I will always remember with Harry Maguire in England, is no matter what anyone thinks about his playing career, go back and watch that Euros penalty shootout. His penalty was one of the best penalties I've ever seen.
Who was that?
Harry Maguire's penalty in the final against Italy.
He banged that, mate.
Mate, that was a banger of a penalty. Harry Kane penalty. Exactly. So I think it's a very big shock that he's pulled him out. Not whether you like him or think he's a good defender, just the fact that he has been like the mainstay of Gareth Southgate's tenure, and obviously all of a sudden he's not. So we'll have to see. Oh yeah, Scotland have got Germany. Who else is Angus? Who else is in your group?
I mean, I haven't really even checked out the groups. I mean, as far as I know, we got quite an easy group. I can't remember the group we got. I mean, I'll check it up as it gets closer and that. But I can't. Our group is pretty much one we should sort of.
It's Denmark. Oh, wait, Joe, I've got a picture of it. That shows how much we're looking forward to it. I can't even remember. Who. Where is it?
I don't even watch the. I don't even watch the friendlies. England friendlies just piss me off.
Serbia, Denmark, Slovenia.
Slovenia, we should be able to write off. Be careful with Serbia, and Denmark. We should be able to do them as well. But you've got to be careful with Denmark as well.
Yeah,
they ain't no little mugs. I'm not saying they're great, but don't ever underestimate anyone. That is the way you lose. Don't be complacent. Even if you're like 100 pounds heavier than that fellow, and you know you could punch the grandmother right out of him. If you go in there with your guard down, thinking you're going to do it, next thing you know, you're sitting on your ass and you don't know what planet you're on. I've seen that happen in boxing. I've seen that in KFC.
I've seen it happen in football.
UFC.
KFC.
You got me thinking of fucking chicken now. I've seen that happen in UFC.
KFC is absolutely abysmal chicken.
It is jank. And I've seen that happen in UFC enough times where they've come in there and they are definitely the favourites to do it, and they've ended up very, very damaged.
Yep.
So you can't write nobody off. So you've got to be bloody careful. I mean, what was it in the World Cup? What was it? Was it Japan who totally cooked?
Argentina, no, Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia did Messi in the first game.
Yeah, and Japan done someone as well, didn't they?
Japan are a good little footballing outfit. They're a good little outfit.
I think it was who was it? Japan done off. I think it was actually the Germans, wasn't it?
It might have been. Well, no, I remember back in the day. Sonny did Germany in Russia. Sonny knocked Germany out of the first round, but I even remember there's two World Cups that I love more than anything. Italia 90, my first ever. I probably remember.
That was the best.
But no, mate, I also remembered, and I loved this World Cup, was the one in Korea and Japan. That World Cup was absolutely incredible, and that's back in my drinking days. And when I could be in the pub at 4 a.m. smashing shots down, I was always going to agree with it. But yeah, no, that World Cup was amazing. Those two World Cups for me are the best two in my lifetime.
Italian 90 was just the dog's bollocks, and that was over the time where the Italian league was the number one league by a million miles, wasn't it?
Yep.
And that all started to fall apart due to money and everything else. So, right, another point I'm going to go to over you on here then, because I'm not going to stretch this on too long. This FFP that's come out, I mean, they're always talking about chopping and bloody changing it and every 5 minutes and that. I mean, this stuff with Man City is just bollocks. This 115 accusations they've got that are going to take 2 years to sort out. To me, that's almost comical. But then it's also saying Villa, Chelsea, Newcastle, Everton, and Nottingham Forest are also in big trouble where they need to sell up and sell up fast. And Aston Villa and Newcastle and Chelsea, we all know they got serious money. Chelsea just blatantly screwed it up by spending £1 billion there and then and thinking they could go through the loopholes. But this is one thing I keep telling people, and people think I'm being disrespectful saying it. Villa and Newcastle have got one of the hardest jobs of becoming big clubs unless they win leagues and Champions Leagues. Because they can't go charging the money that Tottenham can, that Arsenal can, that Fulham can, that Crystal Palace can. Because they're up north and the money is blatantly in London.
Yeah.
You get a ticket price up at Man U or Liverpool for about a third of the price that you get down at Spurs or Arsenal.
Mate, one of my mates have just got a Liverpool season ticket. His first one, adult, £800.
There you go. What would that be at Spurs? That'd be more about 1,500, wouldn't it?
Well, it depends where you sit. I can't remember if he was in the Cop or wherever he's sitting. But obviously, as soon as you get out of London, the prices of things dramatically drop. Like you said, they dramatically drop for to be sustainable with the area they're in. It doesn't matter whatever happens in the world. London is always going to be.
It is the place with the money.
Yeah, it is. It is within the country. So as soon as you get. Listen, my parents. We live on the outskirts of North London, Hertfordshire. It's a kind of affluent area, not super rich or whatever. But the second you start going out of it, whether it's north, south, east or west, things just start dropping dramatically. London is just a cauldron of money. All it is.
It is. Well, me and my wife noticed that. We lived in, it comes under Bexley, but for me it was more Erith sort of thing. And then where we moved more into central Bexley Heath, out at the back, closer into London, I think, what was it? When did we move? It was just after we got married and now. It must have been about 13, 14 months ago now that we moved. It even down to the council tax went up to like 185 from 120.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And that was just when we moved into central Bexley from the outside lines as such. And that is where the money is. And that is where Newcastle and teams like Villa, who do have money, but to keep their FFP, they're not going to be able to throw their money about that they've got. Because if Aston Villa, or well, especially Newcastle, were allowed to, they'd take us over straight away.
Well, just be thankful as well, Dan, that when the Newcastle owners took over, it was when all this came in. Because if they'd come in like Abramovich did and there was no rules, Newcastle would just be absolutely smashing it. Newcastle 100%. Would just like literally everyone would be going to Newcastle, just like with Abramovich and then with Man City. If Newcastle came in at the same time as Abramovich, or the rules were still the same, Newcastle, no one could touch Newcastle, not even Paris Saint-Germain, not even Man City. Newcastle would have just absolutely obliterated everyone.
They would have just totally took it off, like Chelsea did when they came in, and like Man City basically did, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So how are these teams going to get themselves out of these problems? For me, it's obvious. They've got to sell players.
Yeah, of course. But well, let's stay with Newcastle for a second. Newcastle have got to, but the thing is, if they sell either or Bruno and Isaac, or both, they're back in the game and they can spend big. There's sometimes, some of the problem I found with Tottenham, and I'll relate this back to Newcastle, is sometimes we've got to take a defeat to get a win. For instance, like Arsenal did with Aubameyang and Ozil, 350 grand a week, you're our highest earners, the manager wants you out, it's going to cost us big time, manager wants it, bang. Now look at Arsenal moving forward. Sometimes you selling like Liverpool when they sold Coutinho, they went and got Van der Ven, Van Dijk and Alisson. So they had to get a defeat to get a win, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
then you look at us with Harry Kane. We took a huge defeat, and we're waiting. If I heard tomorrow Levy's ripped up Ndombele's contract, Ndombele, sorry, it may be a huge bonus that we're taking a huge hit, which is a defeat,
like Arsenal did with Ozil.
Exactly the same.
Sometimes it has to be done.
Newcastle, if they sell their big ones, and I would even put Gordon on there. I'll probably say the 3 biggest stars at Newcastle, financially wise, to gain them some funds: Isaac, Bruno, Gordon. If they sold one,
the right winger.
The ex Everton one, yeah,
the one who cooked us.
Yeah.
I know who you're on about now. I'm bad with remembering names.
If they sold 1, 2, or all 3, not that they would sell all 3, their books are flush again. They can go out spending, and they will go, right, we need to replace like I heard someone say in our chat today, with all the talk about De Bruyne maybe going to Saudi, they're already looking at Bruno at Newcastle as his replacement. Whether that happens, but they'll get a fuckload of money for De Bruyne. And if they go and bring someone in by the likes of Bruno, yes, he's not Van der Ven. What am I obsession with Van der Ven right now? De Bruyne, but that will be a quality player they bring in. That will be like, okay, we've lost De Bruyne, but there's some serious quality. You look at Man City as well when they've sold Jesus and Zinchenko to Arsenal, but they use that money to get Haaland. They sell their players at the peak and use that money to reinvest. So if Newcastle, bring it back to Newcastle are in trouble and might need to sell a player or 2. But if they do, they're back in the game. They're able to spend. Their cash is ready to spend, and they'll go and spend it, which is a shame. But I just hope if Bruno or Isaac ends up at Arsenal, I'm going to be going nuts.
Well, this all comes out to see whether we're going to have the money to spend or not at the end of the day. And it always goes back to the same thing. I'm not going to bring in Levy in this one, even though I just said that utter filthy word. Sorry, some of yesterday's dinner just come up there.
Oh, you said Levy. Sounds about right.
Yeah, so I was nearly physically sick. But if we get, say, 150 mil to spend, and like we worked out the other day, we worked out that on a reasonable price, we could easily get 150 for those players. But like I was telling everyone, on a realistic price, like everybody knows we want rid of them basically. So we're gonna get done for them basically without doubt. We've just got to get rid of that crap and use the money we get for that, even though it will be a minimum amount of money, and use it for what we've got. We've got to buy wisely this year. And okay, no, Timo Werner, not for me, 165 grand a week. No, thank you. But he's a loan, he's there. You got to deal with it. Don't mean I've got to accept it or respect it, because I don't. I think it's a stupid move by Ange when he's complaining about up front and then goes and gets one of the problems. But with the 150 to say up to 200 we have, if we manage to sell a couple of the players we can get money for, like with Charlison, Lo Celso, I can see us getting 10 million for. And we've really got to buy sensible this year, haven't we? It's not even about buying massive players. We have got, in a way, we have got to do what I was talking about at the start. We've got to do an Atalanta. We've got to do a Leverkusen. We have got players that know their position, play them in their best position, and play them to their potential, which is one thing I feel we don't do at the moment.
I literally think, and I said this at the tail end, I think right now at Tottenham Hotspur, since the peak Poch team where we were flying, I think we actually have the nucleus of a really strong team. I think we do, and it just needs. And again, and I hate using Arsenal for doing this.
Nothing.
I hate doing this, but Angus will no, I'm talking about being an Arsenal fan. They were able to drop 100 million on Declan Rice because the season before they got the players in and the manager was happy. Just like, right, I am missing a person to do exactly what Declan Rice has done for him. Exactly. It was like, we have got, let's say, 80% of the squad left. We need... So now, you looking at this window, and again, I hate giving the filth compliments, they are a 25-goal-a-season striker away from winning the league. So
if they would have had a shit-old striker, they'd have had that league.
Exactly. Put it this way, they do potentially, and now they've got previous for doing it with Declan Rice. If Newcastle, and I'm just going to use Newcastle for the example because they need to sell, say, right, we want 110 million for Isaac, or Isaac, however you want to pronounce it, Arsenal have shown that they will drop 100 or whatever the asking price may be, because all they need right now is a striker. Yeah, they may need a bit of strength in depth, but to make that squad exactly what Arteta wants, all they need now is a striker. They got the goalkeeper. He weren't happy with what's his name? What was the guy, Ramsdale? So they brought Raya in, and everyone was like, what's he doing? But he knows he's got that. He's got Salim. Everything he's got, the one thing he's missing is that elite striker. And if they can work away, and Adrian's just said they've got to watch FFP as well. But a couple of sales out of the way, I actually worry that Arsenal...
They have been in the Champions League.
They've got that money coming in as well. Money. I've got a real bad feeling that Arsenal are going to drop 100 mil on a striker. And that's the thing they've done. However Arteta's done it, however it's done with fans and people wanted him sacked and Arsenal stuck with him, he's built his team gradually. And when they bought Rice, they're like, right, I need a guy that does that. Let's go get the best of the best. And look what he did.
And that's exactly what they did.
Exactly.
It's like what Liverpool did when they got rid of Firmino. They knew, not Firmino, Coutinho.
I've got Sesko. Yeah, Sesko, mate.
They got rid of Coutinho for, what was it, some stupid money of about...
It was around 140 mil.
Yeah, because they knew exactly what they needed. And with that, they went out, right, back. Virgil van Dijk, thank you, come again. And then they went straight out and got Allison. There you go, job done. Yeah, that's how you do it.
146 million pounds Coutinho went for.
And that covered both those players, basically, give or take £10 million.
I put it that way. Angus just put the two. I said Isak, but if Arsenal get Osimhen or Sesko, they're going to be big problem. Well, there are big problems for everyone last season. They're going to be a huge problem.
They're a huge problem anyway, and I agree. The thing that stopped them last season was that world-class striker.
Yep.
If they would have had that world-class striker, we would have been, well, not just us, but the league would have been in serious trouble. I mean, it's like what Angus is saying here, 130 million, and he paid some of the money to Barcelona as well. Yeah, he did. And then he just went to shit out there, basically, didn't he? But we haven't really got those sort of players that we can sell. We did. We had Harry Kane. We sold him. And the question is, did we spend the money there and then towards what we got? Or did we put it in the bloody bank? I don't know. Because we obviously got those players through money that we had. So where did that 100 million with Harry Kane go?
Listen, the thing is, and... I would say I'm quite confident to say within your chat, because I know a lot of the people that are in the chat and obviously watch us. I've never gone into Tottenham Hotspur ever in my life to think, let me look at the balance sheet. I've never once said, oh, I wonder how our financials are. Throughout my entire time, and yes, we had the Sugar and the Irving Scholar dark days where it weren't for Sugar. But first and foremost, all I ever care about is what's happening on the pitch. And is the owners and the manager getting the best out of the players, and is the owner... That's what I care about. Yes, I know the finances come into it. Yes, I understand it's a different world than it is today. But all the time, I care about on the pitch. And we do have a lot more fans. And if that's what they want to do, That's what they want to do. They dive into the finances. That floats their boat. That is a huge part of how they support Tottenham, by knowing that they know the inside and outside of the finances. Fair play. That's how you want to support Tottenham. I can't knock it. I can't argue it. But for me, it's always, I grew up in an era where you cared about what goes on the football pitch, and for 90 minutes, that's but we have
it's about.
And that's what we have come though. Like Alex Scott experience is just to say, we're already hearing.
We're already making excuses for it. No, I'm asking questions of what ifs, what buts.
No, he's saying in general. He's not saying you are. He's saying in general, people.
My apology.
No, that's what, mate. Listen, this is why a couple of people have already said to me in messages, Brian, you're getting very easy on Levy right now. I thought you'd be ranting and raving. I was like, don't worry, it's there. It's ready to it's ready to go. But what happened last season is I jumped on every little thing, going, "Oh, we're not going to get this. Oh, we're going to do this. Oh, I'm waiting for it to happen. If I start bitching and moaning and shouting and screaming, and then in the end of the day we do go out and spend, not that I think we will, but I'm an absolute prat. I'm going to look like, oh, he's gone too early. All Brian does is leave you this, leave you that. I'm like, no. This time, I'm going to wait for it all to unfold. And if it does go the way I think it will go, and if it does end up being another summer of disappointment, then every single fan that was making excuses for why we haven't spent, everyone that was making excuses, I'm coming. And I will be louder than normal. But I'm not willing to spend the first part of the summer bitching about something that hasn't even happened yet. People will know in the back of their minds that I am never far away from Levy out, and I still want him out, but I'm not going to start bitching and moaning right now. And then knowing my luck, it'll be the one time he does do it and I look like an idiot. So I'm taking a different approach, but guarantee and stand on me as my word is my bond. If this goes wrong, and I mean if this goes wrong this summer, I am going to make everything I've done previously with Levy out on the protests online. I'm going to make my previous exploits look like I was declaring world peace, because I will be going full on in to worlds you won't even realise.
Well, it is. I made the mistake of going off my head totally. Like, right, we've got Werner in. I'm Ange out, and that is exactly how I felt at the time. That is what I'd been saying, and that is how I felt. But I gave it a bit of time, cooled down. I think a few of us had to cool down over that one because it was just such a. I can't even get my head around the decision, basically. And you're thinking, well, if he's accepting players like that, where are we going to go? But then we'll speak to a couple of people on the fan base, chat, crowd, whatever you want me to call. Okay, I'll step back a bit. Some people have made some solid points. It's not the fact that it's only a loan, whatever else, this and that. It's the fact that it's just, why did you have to buy crap like that? But there's no point on judging the rest of the transfer window because that first transfer was shit. Even if we buy 5 world-class players, I'm still going to sit here and say that was a shit decision. But then I want him to score 20 goals and I can sit here and say, well, I fucked up. Now, it is more than ever on Ange to get some serious players in there who can do something. And like I said, not world-class players. We need to get players who can play his way in his position. And it's not going to be easy to do, especially with the Euros coming up. Like you were the one who first mentioned that to me, and I hadn't even thought of it and that. And that is not going to be an easy thing to do because they're all going to be out there. Angie's going to be out there watching it. I first thought, like, Ange, what the hell are you doing going out there and watching this when you know you've got a lot to fix here? Maybe, like some said, he is just going out there because it is the perfect place to sit there and watch a few players of who he might want. What do you think?
Yeah, mate, I'm completely. Listen, I've said obviously, when the Timo Werner thing happened, you and others went straight on. That's it. I'm Ange out. I've just actually left a response there for Angus in the chat. I didn't get. Listen, I understand. Listen, we all support the club in a different way, whatever. But I've made a thing that I've said always. No matter where I feel on the board, I've never ever turned my back on a manager. I've never once said, "That's it. Get this man out." I suffered through AVB. In his first season, if it weren't for V.A.R, would have struggled, but obviously that happened. I struggled with Nuno big time, didn't understand it, but my anger there was with Levy and taking so long. I will never turn my back on a manager, ever. And I wasn't going to start now. But I understand where a lot of people said, right, that's it, he's a yes man. And I can see where that comes from. But like you said, Dan, I'm trying to remember, is this your first full summer window where you've had your channel or you've been on the circuit?
I started basically 11 coming on 12 months ago, where I was always watching Savage shows in the morning, always having a little debate with him on the side and everyone else. And it had an argument the night before with someone else that I heard, and he was claiming Aston Villa are bigger than Spurs. And I was like, bollocks, mate. Aston Villa ain't bigger than Spurs. If you want to go by history and that, they are bigger than Spurs. So are a lot of clubs. So are Nottingham Forest. Technically, if you go by what they've won, they're bigger than Arsenal. They've won the Champions League and Arsenal ain't do it, or Champions Cup. But if you want to go by how it is now, Aston Villa are not bigger than Spurs. Okay, they finished above us, but they are not a bigger club. That would be like saying Aston Villa, because they finished fourth, are bigger than Man U. No, they're bloody not. And that was what the debate was about. And usually he'd done his shows for an hour and a half, and this show went on for about 3 hours with me and Sava going at each other hell for leather, when no one else could really get a word in, except Mr. Box Office, who turned up on it, and I think Coover got a word in. And people thought the show was a setup. People started asking, like, are you two actually friends from down the pub? I'm like, no, don't even know each other, only on here. I think just quite a few people were shocked that I was able to come on and just talk. Some people can do it, some people can't. After that, I just started bouncing off a bit, doing a few other shows and that. Like Alan's show, I'd done a hell of a lot on Time Added On, which I'd always respect him for that. And then just sort of bounced off channels, having a chat about this and that. I've only really started properly on this channel, like when I teamed up with Tom on here.
Yeah.
Again, another one to you, Tom. Big up, mate. And I miss you on here with a passion, mate. Some of the laughs I had with you, one thing you could always do, bruv, was keep it comical. And a lot of people, mate, miss you. Believe me, they do. They've told me. But anyway, and Tom just wanted to leave, and he just had enough of Spurs and everything. I can understand why. And he left me the channel. I had about 2,400 on it. I wasn't well for a while, so I had to come off. And it's only over the past 2 months that I've actually started doing this regular, my own channel, and doing other people. I'm up to 3,060 something now. So must be doing something half right, not pissing everybody off.
There you go. But, as I was saying though, but Dan, what I was saying is, like, listen, when you do this, when the transfers come in and everything, listen, I've been on the YouTube scene now about 3 years. The man down here has been on it longer. I used to watch this guy all the time, Mr. Box Office. I don't think he had any nicknames then. He was just called Alex. I've seen the evolution of the nicknames. It's a lot, mate. You get a lot of. You become an easy target when you do YouTube, obviously. And this is the thing. So when it comes to transfer activity and everything, this is why I'm just being very, very quiet. This is why, like I said to you, when people were saying Ange, I get why they did it. That's not for me. And like I've learned from last year, where I bit on every single transfer.
They're not sunglasses.
Anything from anyone, I would start berating, and I'm not doing it this year. I'm not doing it. I'm taking it. We'll see as it comes, but I'm ready for war should need be.
This is going to be the first one where I'm basically going to be doing my own shows on what's going on the transfer window, basically. Because, like I said, it's only over the past 2 months that I've actually started getting into the shows, doing the thumbnails, doing everything else and everything else. Because going on everybody else's show was easy. You just came onto the show and you just talked crap. But anyway, I've just been talking about a bit of crap for a while. Alex, Mr. Box Office, the main man is on the event. How are we doing this afternoon?
Like I say, I've been on the beach like some of the Tottenham players last season. But yeah,
did you see any of them?
No, because I couldn't see them like most of them. I couldn't see most of them like I couldn't see them last season. Like I said,
what, didn't Ange give you a Foster's?
No, I didn't really because I don't drink. You know what I mean? I was more whining with some of the ladies in Jamaica. But anyway, moving on. Give you a little bit of a tease to where Mr. Box Office goes on tour. But anyway, moving on. But yeah, like I say, I mean, I just think that people just go over the top, really. For me, I mean, I've zoned out a long time ago. I don't understand why people are saying we need to calm down because I mean I wasn't that bothered about the transfer window anyway. I don't know why people are saying that we're going over the top about Timo Werner because I told you about Timo Werner anyway. I don't know why people are telling me now that we need to wait till the end of the transfer window because I told you when I was not that when I'm going to be on board with this whole process and the transfer window did make no difference in my life whatsoever. And I certainly don't know why people are saying to me that we need to give Ange a chance. Like I said, heard on Spurs Kings TV, one Liverpool fan was telling me, "Oh, we need to give him a chance. Oh, it's you need to give him a chance." And I was sitting there listening to a Liverpool fan. He was pretending that was like Tottenham, Liverpool on the same level as Tottenham. I was sitting there thinking, really? And then I had Deji at the one side, I had Jay at the other side, rubbing their hips saying, wow, someone's doing this. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. And I'm sitting there with that smack and thinking, really? Are we really doing this right now? You know what I mean? This is the mad world of the football of the Premier League right now. You know what I mean? The mad world of the Premier League right now, of YouTube right now. You know what I mean? The season's over, and we're still now twerking for this team at the moment. One thing I will say, because I'm on a monologue, I've been told, Dan. I waffle and do a monologue. This is a monologue I do now these days.
No. You do twerking. It's tweaking.
Oh, tweaking. Yeah, that's it. That's what I do.
I keep making the same fucking mistake myself, and then when I've said it 10 times, someone does you like twerking, do you?
You know what I mean? Because I waffle, I do monologues. That's what I've been told anyway. One thing I think is very important that people completely missed at the moment. Do you know that our assistant manager's leaving our club right now?
Yep.
He's leaving for Birmingham. And that's a problem.
Yeah.
That's a massive problem because I did say, I've told people, again, Mr. Box Office talking the truth again. Because people don't like the truth, Dan, don't they, Brian? They don't like the truth.
No.
They don't like the truth coming from us three, don't they? They don't like it. I said Ange is not a good coach. He's not a very good coach, isn't he? He's a good manager. He's a manager, man manager like Harry Redknapp. Not a good coach, though. So who's going to be coaching the players? Who's left, Dan? Who's left, Brian? Who's left? We've got our favourite, the wonder child, the guy that everyone loves, and Daniel Levy loves, Brian Mason, still at our club, so he's going to be coaching. And another one, the Crystal Palace reject, Jelinek, who can't even do set pieces. So we're going to have to sort out a coach right now, don't we? We really do. Because at the moment, I'm worried about our coaching right now. I'm really worried. You know what I mean? That's all I need to say. So I just had to put that little nugget there.
Just mate.
Put a pipe bomb like Kuva says perfectly. Yeah, big up Kuva every single time. Yeah, right? I'll do my pipe bombs and that's it. Back to you, Dan. I'm done.
Fucking flies. You know when you got that one fly around you and you just can't get the bastard no matter what, and you end up hitting your own hand and hurting yourself.
Mate, shall I tell you another great thing about Canada? Being that all our windows open this way and not out, we have like these nets next to the window, so they've got little flies and stuff can't get in. So I don't get flies in my house at all. So when I come back to England, I see it, but no flies get into this house. None. It's wonderful.
Well, lucky you on that one. Well, on this one, what William Brown says here, I think, Alex, this one might be aimed at you slightly. Ange is a very good manager and coach.
Prove it to me then, because at the moment, I don't see it. I don't see any of the players that have moved from the roster of when Conte was in charge has been proved. None of them. And he's had one game a week. One game a week. Sorry, I don't see any of them. Right? And the thing is, though, the thing that looks bad on him, right? When Pochettino was in charge of Chelsea, I see loads of players that have improved there. I see a load of players that were improving there. I saw a load of players improving under
poor, though. It wasn't hard to get better under Poch.
I hear you.
They were at the start.
But the point I'm making is players that actually get better. I'm sorry. I've got to be honest. I've got to be honest.
You've got to be. Say how it is.
Listen, I'm not having a dig at anyone that's got their own opinion. Yeah. But you know what I mean? Because there are people out there that you'll be surprised I've actually got respect for, because some of them I actually understand why they think the way they think. Yeah. Right. But the thing is, what for me at the moment, I only talk about the truth, and that's it for me. Yeah. I'm not even trying to rattle people right now. Like I said, I'm on the beach, but I'm just saying at the moment, right? I was told Ange was a very good coach.
Mm-hmm.
From this season, I don't see anyone that is improved. No one's really improved. Yeah.
Porro has improved.
Well, improved a little bit. He could do more.
He's improved. I think, whether he could do more or not is not the point on that one, Alex. He has actually improved.
Okay, but at the end of the day, bro, in my eyes, okay, if we're gonna ask that question to me right now, I say no.
Fair enough, if that's how you see it.
Because I'm going to just call it straight how I see it then. Because at the moment, little bit improved doesn't make me think he's improved. I'll say I'm going to be even more controversial as well, because thank Deji for this. I love Deji, but he was asking this question on Sky on Spurs Kings TV. So I was humped up, sat in the wall with certain players. He said, "Did Van der Ven improve?" I'm going to say no. You know why? Right? We didn't win no trophy. Right? He might have saved us. Right? But then I want to see.
Only about 10
more.
points.
I want to see more. I want to see him doing it next season. So that's why I'm being harsh, because you're asking me the question, right? That has he improved? Yeah. So you should be happy. No, I'm not going to say. No, because I want to see him do more. I want to see him do more. I want to see him do more. I want to see Romero do more, be more positional, and that's again on the coach, on the manager. You know what I mean? This is what I want to see. I want to see more players doing more. You see what I'm saying? You see, this is where I think we're going wrong as well as a team, as in the transfer window. I don't see any arrogant players we've got. We don't have any swag in our team.
Do you think Ivan Toney would be good for that?
Pardon?
Do you think Ivan Toney would be good for that?
Bro, bro, this is why I've been chomping at a bit to do something on my channel right now, but I'm still preparing at the moment. I'm gonna be very. This is a very big risk for me right now, yeah. But I think there's too many nice players in our front line at the moment. We need an arrogant player.
Nice players in that team, mate.
We need arrogant players who've got swag, and unfortunately, and I'm gonna name people who has swag that were quiet, but when they were on the pitch, they done their business. Berbatov, yeah,
the most arrogant prick you will ever meet.
Arrogant, quiet. He was quiet, but when the pitch, boom, back of the net, wins us trophies, bro. Wins us trophies, yeah. That's quality. That's arrogant, yeah. All the top players had arrogance. Remember Balotelli from Man City?
Yes.
He's arrogant. He was arrogant. He was annoying, but he got the job done.
You can't have a whole pitch full of it, though.
No, you can't have a whole pitch of them. No, you can't. But you got to have some of them. You got to have some of them, though. Ivan Toney all day long. It's a risk because you can have an Ndombele, situation. You can have a Dalmat situation, but then you can have a Defoe.
Mate, don't say anything bad about Stefan Dalmat. Stefan Dalmat was a baller.
I know, but he had bad
Dalmat
attitude.
Was a nutcase, but he was a baller.
Baller, yeah, I know, but that's the point, innit? You know what I mean? And like I said, listen, I can't do stats. I'm not doing stats. I look at the character because that's what gets you. That's what makes you from a boy, yeah, a little boy to a Ronaldo, a Messi, yeah. That's what makes you, bro. The attitude, you know what I mean? Because Ronaldo when he started, he was like a puny little guy. He had the skill, he had everything, yeah. Alex Ferguson got hold of him, made him into a man. You know what I mean? Gareth Bale was when Harry Redknapp got hold of him, he was turned into a boy, turned into a man. Yeah, arrogant man, quiet, but when he done his business, he's made his business. Yeah,
you haven't got to be loud to be arrogant and
exactly.
How should I put it? And full of yourself.
That's the point.
And that's what you need a striker to be. I mean, like the question you just got here is. Ask Alex, it seems you get kicked out. Let me start again. Ask Alex, it seems like you get kicked out of being forcefully pessimistic. Is that so?
So what?
I don't believe it's forcefully. I mean, I get told I'm part of this negative crew as well. Because look, with people, with football, with anything in life, yeah, it's all good sitting there talking about the good. But if you don't wrap up the problems, it's only going to get worse. You can't just stick a problem under the pillar. You got to fix the fucking thing. So you have to talk about the thing. And if anything, at times, you got to talk about those negative things because once those negative problems are fixed, there's a lot more positive to talk about. And overall this season, there was a lot more negative to say about Ange than there was positive. They might have all been little things, but they all added up very, very quickly. Down to the zonal marking, down to the way he wouldn't make changes, down to the way he wouldn't adapt, down to the way that he put Davis against Saka, down to the way that he put Chicken Royale against fucking Mohamed Salah, down to the way that he just did not adapt. And there was loads of little things with him that added up. Now we need to see this manager fix it. Then we can make our decision. You can only make a decision on what you see. So people saying here and saying to us and saying to others, like, no, give him a chance next season. He's going to be good. Definitely going to be good. Well, no, mate, you're living on hope. You can't give me a fact there he's going to get good next season and do it proper. I hope he does. We all hope he does. But I can only go on what I see now. That is evidence. That is fact. And there's been problems that need solving. And if he does, I feel he can become a very good manager. Maybe it was because he was his first manager in the Premier League, like first big league, whatever. Who knows? We will see. I think he can get his shit together, depending on this transfer window. But there was a lot of points that was quite easy that you could pick him off on. Right?
Listen, like I said, I have got confidence in Ange. I have got hope they'll turn it around. I have got hope that he'll get the players that he needs. And like I've been saying the whole time, this isn't, for me, when it comes to him, I don't want to hear he got a player like the player he wanted. I want to hear he got the player he wanted. I don't expect that for every single player. I'm not crazy and think, oh, he wants 5-6 players. He's going to get his first pick every single time. But he needs some. If this thing called Ange Ball is going to come back and be like the first 10 games, whatever Ange Ball is, yeah, you've got to have certain players that are willing to do certain jobs. Unfortunately, yes, I do, Alex. I do know where he lives. But yeah, for me, Ange Postecoglou, I hope he'll get it right. Oh, no, sorry. I don't hope he'll get it right. I strongly believe he will get it right if he gets the players he wants. I really, really do believe it. But we've just got to hope. We've just got to hope that he does. I think he impressed me. Obviously, he impressed everyone the first 10 games. near the end of the season, he did a few things that would have been cause for concern for me. But I don't, like I said, I don't turn my back on the manager, and hopefully he'll learn from his first season in the Premier League. Going, right, I may have got away with this elsewhere. I can't do that in the Premier League. I'll get punished, and we'll have to see. We're going to have to see what would happen. I think he is going to be able to do it.
Oh dear. Bloody WhatsApp can be a pain in the ass when you send the wrong fucking post.
Yeah, you got to be very careful. When you're on stream and you're WhatsApping at the same time, you got to be very careful.
I can't believe I've just done that. So
Rookie mistake, brother.
No, but listen. I get what you're saying. Listen. I get what you're saying, Brian. Yeah, but at the moment, I just think I'm just yeah. Listen, I can't change my opinion on what's going to happen at the moment with Ange at the moment. I think. Unfortunately, and I love people that I think people have got their own opinions. That's fine, but I think the more that people keep on pushing Ange in my face, the more I don't like him, and I can't stand him, and that's it for me. I just think some people just need to just understand at the moment that I still got my feelings he's going to leave at the end of the season. I still think he's going to leave at the end of the season. Because I don't see the alignment with the board and the manager.
Okay.
People saying what they're saying. They haven't got a budget. I mean, we've heard that before. Regardless whether it's not been the same sort of wording, we've heard this before. The fact that now we're hearing about investment, we all know that investment is not going to be for the team. We all know that. You know what I mean? We all know that. Because even they've said it from the beginning that they're not here for the football. And you know this. Danny Kiriako has said this loads of times as well. So it's so many things. There's so many things that I'm sitting there thinking, well, you need to show me. You know what I mean? And you don't show me anything. You don't show me you believe in this manager. You don't show me. You're not talking. You're not saying anything. I was like, well, people say, well, they don't have to. I was like, well, don't tell me to believe in the manager then. Don't tell me to back the manager then. If you're telling me to back the manager, you've got to show me you believe in the manager then. Don't tell me to have blind faith because I'm not stupid. You know what I mean?
I just have to say very quickly, I don't know if the guy's joking or being serious, but Ricky Osvaldo, I just want to say fair play to you, because if you want to say in a comment, happy clappers like Brian out,
where has someone had the audacity to say that?
One from the last comment, the first time in my life, me, a happy clapper. I never used that term in the first place. And if you think I'm a happy clapper, my God, you're in for a treat.
What time is it? Because I've got to see that.
It will be 10:07 your time.
Yeah, see, well, I'm a little bit behind on this one.
I think that, honestly, that's the best thing I've ever seen in YouTube. The best thing I've ever seen in my life.
Happy clappers like Brian now. You definitely got that one wrong, mate. I'll give you that one.
That is one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life. So thank you, Ricky. Thank you very
Ryan, big up Dan, Brian, and Mixed Box.
Is Ryan G Wolves Fee? Isn't it? Has Wolves Fee changed his name? Or is there another Wolves fan here? I need to know this information.
Don't know, mate. There's so many out there. Just a point I want to make here, Graham Pennant. You do love to make a good example on here. I take in what you say. I've agreed with a few things, disagreed with others. Dan, I would say it's very simple. Klopp first season was just to implement his ideology. Ange's doing the same. So don't over-criticise before you reach the station. No, I get you. But what I will criticise is what I see when the mistakes are simple.
Again,
with the mistakes of changing 9 players for a League Cup. A cup we could have won. waiting until we're 3-0 down before he does anything. And he done that in about 3 or 4 separate games. Not even slightly changing his way of play when we are getting hammered out there. Newcastle was my prime one for this. You could see it was coming. It was coming. And then they got that goal. And then they kept swinging it over the sides. If Ange wouldn't have been such a stubborn fella, which we can all plainly see he is, and said, right, boys, come back 10 yards, muscle it up for 10 minutes, and we get back into it. We could have stood a chance there. No, Ange just said, carry on, boys, and we were 2-0 down. And then we were 3-0 down. Zonal marking. We were third joint worst in the Premiership. And what was it Ange said to that? I think I've even actually still got that on my thing here. No, I must have deleted it. What was it Ange said to that? Yes, it's a bit of a problem, but it's, you know, I've got bigger fish to fry, basically.
Yeah, I've got bigger fish to fry.
Yeah, like when we were the third worst at it, and then he changes it with the second last or third last game of the season, and it actually shows. When things like that happen, so am I meant to keep my mouth shut now and just be all happy and positive and say, don't worry, he'll fix it next season? It's positive for me is like respect. You want respect, you fucking earn it. I'll give you all the common courtesy in the world because that's what anybody deserves.
Dan, it's a stupid comment anyway.
You want to give me positive. You want positive off of me. You have to show me something positive.
Dan,
you did at the end.
But Dan, all you need to say is, right, what based on what can we go on that this is going to work at the moment? Based on what? Not based on just Ange, based on what we've seen with the board at the moment and the alignment, what the board and what the manager wants at the moment, and the signings that we are looked at the moment, right? Based on what? Yeah. What is the plan? What is the plan? You know what I mean? So you're telling me so we're telling us to be patient, right? This is what I'm getting sick of at the moment. We're getting the same old saying we need to be patient. Again, what based on what can you say right now that we can say, oh, this is like Klopp, this is like other teams? When Liverpool, this is what I'm saying. When the Liverpool fans coming up to me and saying we had hardship when they've had trophies before Klopp, even if it was 10 years ago, it don't matter. They've still seen it, right? And you're telling us to be patient with the years of rubbish that we've seen. And this is the garbage we've got to put up with. You see what I'm saying? It's just, again, it's like we're not stupid now. Again, if the board believed in the manager, why are they not making statements? And I don't care whether they don't do it. We'll say, okay, if they don't do it, don't tell us to believe in the fucking manager then. Sorry for swearing. I'm sorry.
That's fine.
It's no point of me believing in the manager if they can't believe in the manager that they hired. They hired.
I mean, look, it's like the comment that just got put here. See what we deal with. Dan clowns. I presume that's meant to me. No, mate, I'm just a realistic.
No. He's talking about the guy that called me a happy clapper. He's saying, "See what you have to do." He's not. I think I need to be your. I think I need to be your interpreter, Dan. You need to hire me just so I can. Yeah. I'll get you out of a lot of trouble.
That's exactly what I mean by when you read something, you can misunderstand it. So I do apologise. He's done good stuff for the club, and I managed to bring out talking with Brian yesterday and Jacob. And Dietrich, even Dietrich's managed to pull out a positive side, for fuck's sake, and that is a miracle on its own. And there is positive there, but you can't expect everyone to just go forget the negative and we just look at the positive and then we will just hope. I am sick to death of being a Spurs fan and living on fucking hope. Actions speak louder than words. Right. When I start seeing the actions, you will start seeing me be more positive. I'm not a negative person. I'm a realistic person. And being realistic at the moment, I'm sitting on the fence basically because I just don't know what way that wind's going to go. End of the transfer window, that wind can take that fence clean over and take me over that side. Or end of that transfer window, it can definitely go that way and put me on that side. So you know what, mate? Fella means business. It's the thing we all have at Tottenham. Hope. That is that name we have to live on. Being a Tottenham supporter, forget the Bible, forget religion, you live on hope. That is what you need to read about. That is what you need to learn about being a bloody Spurs supporter. And that is what we're all sick to fucking death of. But can I think he can do it? I think he can get us a cup. League, just forget about that one, basically.
And the fact is, and people don't want to hear it, right? Manchester United in their first season won the Carabao Cup. Second season, in their worst season, where everyone hates Ten Hag, won the FA Cup. So what you saying? What you saying? You know what I mean? Sorry,
It's
but
true.
if you're going to start talking about we're a top club, Manchester United at their worst season, and Deji couldn't hear it because it was like he knew the truth, but couldn't hear it. Yeah.
Please message me.
In their worst season, won the FA Cup against Man City, the team that we said we can't get over, by the way. Yeah. The team that we keep on talking about because of their 150 charges. Yeah. Which don't really make no difference in my life at the moment, because as far as I'm concerned, even if they were at the Premier League, Tottenham still would mess up trying to win the league anyway. So it wouldn't make a blind bit of difference, because they'll still say that Arsenal better than us, and that's it. So they'll still make excuses. You know what I mean? So I mean
even Chelsea, after spending $1 billion, are ready to be patient for the second season in a row. I only want top four. So be real at Dan, Alex, and Brian. I don't care about top four, mate. I said it at the start. I want a trophy. That's what I want.
Again, Graham. Yeah. Sorry to interrupt you, Dan. You're talking.
It's all opinions.
You are talking like I'm supposed to just have blind faith. Again, whatever board said to tell me they believe in the manager. Don't tell me what the tier ones tell me. No, I don't want to hear from tier ones, because Arsenal's ownership, after they lost the championship, so close to the championship, came out and said, we still believe in Arteta. We still believe in Arteta. We're still going to go into next season. We're going to believe in Arteta next season. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. What do we hear from Scott Munn? What do we hear from Johan Lang? Absolutely diddly squat.
It's very true.
Diddly squat. And you're telling me to believe when my ownership can't even say anything? Oh yeah, when we got a 10-game run, oh yeah, we come out and do fan forum and say we've got our Tottenham back, which means absolutely nothing to me. And before anybody says anything, I am calm, by the way. This is me calm. Yeah, it's just that I've got a big voice, so just have respect. That's the point. So this is the thing. It's just like, it's just like I said, if the ownership believed in the manager, they should say something. Yeah. And that's it. I go on history and I go on what I've seen before. And that's it.
It's like when you employ someone, Alex, you go on a CV. You don't go, and then you obviously look at, right, what future can he give me? But you always go on a CV, don't you?
Yeah.
I mean, so the fellow asked here, so what is your answer?
Can I just very quickly respond to Graham and the Chelsea question first? I will say, just very, very quickly, Graham, it's all well and good saying Chelsea, after spending $1 billion, are ready to be patient for a second season in a row. That's because for the 20 years under Abramovich, they won league titles, FA Cups, Champions League, League Cup, most successful London team, the most successful English team in the last 2 decades. We've had none of that. Chelsea now are in a position where they have to rebuild and restart again. So Chelsea being patient because of the mess they're in is fine, because they've come back off an owner that took them to the promised land and kept them there for ages. And I think Chelsea fans will believe at some point those days will come back. We're just waiting to get... when you're going to the airport and you go, are we there yet? Are we there yet? As a kid, I used to get very excited when we're driving to the airport and I saw the first plane coming, taking off or landing on the runway. As far as where Spurs are right now compared to where Chelsea have been, we can't even see the first plane taking off or coming in yet. We're miles away, sir. It's all good news in Chelsea. I understand why you've picked Chelsea, because the state they're in. But if you said to me I can go back in 20 years and have all of Chelsea's success and now be in Chelsea's position, having to rebuild, would I take that over the 16 years we've just had? Give me Chelsea's in a heartbeat.
Exactly.
In a heartbeat.
I mean, I think Peter makes a good point here. We will see what happens in the transfer window opens. That's exactly what I said, wasn't it? That is exactly what I said. That is when I will make a decision of how capable is he. And then it goes to December to see if this really starts working. Because just sitting here pulling out some of the negatives, it's not a bad thing. You have to fix problems. And there was problems there. I've had a lot of people tell me that who were with Celtic and who actually knew of him, because I only knew he was the manager of Celtic. I don't follow Scottish football. It don't interest me. No insult to no one. It really doesn't. And I was like, okay, I haven't got a clue about it, fella. Done a bit of checking up on him and thought, okay, let's go. First 10 games, I saw how lucky we were at certain points. But I thought, you know what? He's got an idea. And then after that game with Chelsea, which we just basically threw on the floor anyway, things started going downhill. But then even when we got all our players back together, we'd already been sussed and scored and conceded the same goals game after game. So this is where I'm not a Premier League manager, but I'm still allowed my opinion. And sometimes, like playing poker is a game I love to play. And you can have tactics when you play poker, same as chess, same as anything. But sometimes you can only play with what you've got. And it's how you play with what you've got. And there were several times that I saw Ange not willing to change something to play with what he's got. I think the Arsenal game, Chelsea game, Liverpool game are three of the main things of that. One of the Wolves games. And then when you see your manager take 2 steps forward and you think, yes, he's got it. He made 2 subs at half-time. We won 1-0 down and we go and win the game 3-1. It made a massive difference. And then in the next game, he waits until we're 3-0 down before he makes the sub. When we was only 1-0 down at half-time and he could see the same problems. This is where I struggle with this man. But this is where he gets to buy his players and he gets next season. But if you want to be in this style of life, and I find this is a big problem with football as a whole, not just Spurs. I'm diverting this from football as a whole. Too many players out there, too many managers out there, love to have sunshine blown up their ass with rainbows and love and everything else when it's going good. And people love to do it. But when it's going bad, and there's usually someone to blame for it, and I'm sorry, Daniel Levy was not the one to blame for this. You got to take the shit as well. It don't just work one side. You got to take the crap as well. And he did some crap things, and he also did some very good things. So you got to level it out. You can't just be the one who gets the kiss and the cuddle, and then go and do something and expect no repercussions from it. That's how I see this. Yes, some of us are more negative than positive and that, but it all comes down to history at the end of the day. I think Ange can get... It's realistic is the word that I use.
Yeah, you're not negative, Dan. You're not negative, Dan. You're definitely not negative. I hate when you say that you're negative, because you're not negative. You're a good guy. And also, just because your honesty, they don't know you personally. Like I said, I'm fed up this. I think this is the problem. It's just like you've got to like what everybody else likes. I think it's just. I think the thing is, Dan. Sorry to interrupt you because you're speaking. I do apologise for that. I really do a bit. But I just think at the moment, I think people just need to understand we are going to clash. We are going to clash. You know what I mean? It's like me and other people. We're going to clash. It's just that certain people are more accepting of it. You know what I mean? You know, until Tottenham actually start winning stuff, that's when people will start to get to grips with it. You know what I mean? Or we see something from the board that we've not seen before because they're not going nowhere. If we see something different, that's when we might see people come aligned, like Arsenal with Arteta. Look, no, you don't see a lot of Arsenal Arteta out anymore, don't you? Because
except Lee Gunner.
Exactly, because
and a couple of his mates.
Even you've got Turkish now saying, "I give my hands up now. I've seen it now. He's proven it to me." You know what I mean? Because now they see the board sticking with the manager, and now the manager is showing them what the future is. You know what I mean? We've never seen that vision. We've not had a vision. You know what I mean? We've had so many different managers giving us visions, but we've not seen the club give us a vision. What is the future? We don't know. Even we've got Newcastle given a vision, 5-year plan. What do they want to achieve? All I've been told is we want to be competitive. What does that mean? What does
It's
that mean?
hope. It's what we live on. Hope. It's like I said earlier. It
What
is
does
what we
that
live
mean?
on.
What does that mean? It's like, but then people are so more interested in finances. Yeah, when someone puts a finance video out, yeah, the more interested in that. When we got investment, which won't go into the club, it's more into building buildings, and that's it. Because at the moment, I don't see what else is there at the moment. I keep on hearing that we're a great
Lee
business.
makes good points. Sorry,
Pardon?
Alex, go on. I was just answering to what someone there. No one listens to Lee. I'm sorry. Lee makes some solid points.
Yeah, he does. He
Oh,
does. He does. But this is the point. I'm not having to go at him. I'm just saying this is the thing at the moment. We've got nothing to go on.
This is very true.
If Levy and I don't want to make this all about Levy, yeah, so we'll keep it just on this bit.
Yeah, no.
Or Scott Munn or someone else came out and said, right, Spurs, I want to talk to you lot. I hear you're not too happy with Ange. Some of you are happy with Ange. Do you know what? Bollocks to the lot here. He's staying here. We got a plan. We're going to do something. It's going to take time, but you're going to have to fucking follow it. You know what? You'd see a lot of people like me and a lot of people like Brian, Alex, Stel, Alan go back and say, do you know what? Okay, I can ride that for a while. And we'll see how it goes after 2 years.
That shows leadership, Dan. That shows leadership.
But we don't get none of it.
That's the point. It shows leadership.
Exactly.
And it's like, well, you us fans have got to do this under. No, because I don't get paid to watch. That's not my job. That's not my job.
Chat, please leave me some messages on there now. Would you actually prefer it if Levy or Scott Munn or whoever it is who's doing the bloody talking came out on the news like the Arsenal chairman does, like other chairman's done? I mean, even the bloody Newcastle chairman used to do it, and the Liverpool ones do, and the Everton ones do, and actually gave us an idea of what is going on. What is the actual plan? But we don't get none of that. So then you making up your own decisions. And it doesn't mean your decisions are right. But then you've got nothing there to tell you that your opinion is wrong either. You haven't got a fact on the table. So if they then come out and at least had the time to tell us fans what the fuck is going on, I think it'd shut a few people up. I think it'd make a few people happy. But we don't get that. And then it just looks like we're sitting here now just being negative. No, as all we want is some answers. Yeah, apart from a bloody trophy and everything else and Levy out and all that. Forget all that crap, yeah? I just want some... And Ange actually done a very good thing. But the poor man also shot himself in the foot twice. And then he might as well have put a sawn off to his face. He tried doing what a lot of managers haven't done, and that is keeping contact with the fans. And then he made the mistake of saying certain things that he shouldn't have said. He should never ever have stood there and said, I want to go for that title next season. Because now, okay, we finished 5th, but we just signed Timo Werner again. Do I see us going for a title? Did anyone really see it? When he stands there and he says, and I know this was for the fans, I don't think these things were pushed on him. That's where he made the mistakes. certain things, it gets pushed on all managers. Yes, go out there, big us up, big the club up, everything else, yeah? We all know how that works. Money fucking talks. But he did not have to stand there and say that every player that comes into this club, I called it. I said yes to it. Because then when people like Timo Werner turn up again, now you put it on him. Because then some people will think, oh, he just got told to say that. I don't think he got told to say that. I think he said that out of just being nice to the fans and trying to connect with the fans. And it definitely shot him in the foot. Because then it gets people like me looking at him like, well, hang on a minute. My manager ain't being straight with me. Why are you lying to me? Or are you lying to me? It makes me question things. And that's where I feel he actually done himself a bit of damage. I think he actually spoke a bit too much.
And I've repeated this. I think you're speaking good. I think you're speaking facts there. I think he is speaking too much, mate. I think he's speaking way too much.
And he'd already had half his job done. I mean, I've repeated it so many times, and I will do it again and again on shows, on my shows and that. This man, he came into a toxic football club, which in some ways I think it's even worse divided now than it was with fucking Conte. At least when it was with Conte, you had 80% of them wanted him out, whether they were Levy lovers, Levy haters, Levy whatever. But he had the easiest job a manager on this planet ever has had, in my opinion, and that was winning the fan base over, which is usually the hardest thing to do. That's all he had to do. I could have done his job. Alex could have done his job. So could Brian. So could Alan. So could Stell. So could Danny Kay. So could the list go on and on and on. So could Dietrich. As all he had to do was come on and say, boys, play attacking football. And next thing you know, after 3 games, 90% of the fan base loved him off. Job done on that aspect. Very easy job, which is usually the hardest one to do. But I just think he said too many things that he did not have to say. And it has definitely backfired on him. I mean, what do you two think on that?
With that, you've got a lot of, towards the end, what I've been saying it recently on the last few streams, in the 45 in a couple of weeks, but 1987, I've been following Spurs religiously from when I was like 7 or 8. Terry Venables, Ryan Yole, Harry Redknapp, Mauricio Pochettino, and Ange are the only 5 I've seen that have galvanised the fans. And to start off with, and made the fans believe that something's happening. And when Ange Postecoglou came in, I agree with you. I don't think a manager has come into Tottenham Hotspur in my lifetime with the club in the gutter in every single department. The fan base, the players, just everything. Ange Postecoglou came in and got the fan base on side right away. I completely agree, Dan, with what you said. That near the end of the season, some of the things he said I questioned. But you learn from your mistakes. And hopefully he will learn from them. Hopefully, if he's based with the same scenarios he was at the end of last season, if they start at the beginning of the season, he's like, nope, I'm going to take the knowledge that I got from last season and I'm going to put it to good use. That's to be seen and be decided. But like I've been saying to Ricky Osvaldo the whole time, I have never, ever turned my back on a manager, and I never will. People will know how mad I go for this board, how much I hate this board, how much I will protest for the board, the things I've done in protest of this board. But I have never turned my back on a manager. And just because of a few strange things, like not addressing set pieces, and not even not addressing them, coming out and saying they don't need addressing, was a bit like, Ange, I can see with my own eyes. Every time we get a corner, it's a goal, or they get a corner. And I see, but you got to learn. Like someone said, you learn from you learn from your mistakes, and you learn hopefully not to repeat them again. And I'm hoping that's what happens. Ben, enjoy your holiday. Jesus Christ, he's on a boat. He won't stop dropping into messages. He's chilling with his missus. Have a nice time in Italy, man. Have some gelato for me. But yeah, that's what I feel with Ange. One thing I'll say, sorry, in closing, is last season a load of people said free hit, we don't know what we're getting, blah, blah, blah. This window, if he gets what he wants, as much as the heat is on Levy to back him, if Ange gets his players this season, there will be a lot more spotlight put on him. And
yes.
if it's not going wrong, he will come under more pressure from the media, from the club, from us on YouTube, and he will have to answer those critics. But do I hope that he addresses everything? Yeah, I do.
I mean, Peter, you're going to have to re-put it, because I'm a bit behind on the chat, you're going to have to redo the converse of the point that you've asked the question. But I was saying, Ange is a Levy sock puppet. Most of them are. We was hoping he wasn't. But 9 out of 10 they are, because he did not like that confrontation off of Conte or Mourinho, did he? He's got to get, if he gets the players that he wants, and it's made clearly that he wants, then the pressure is off Levy as far as I'm concerned in that side, yeah? Then you can even turn around, and whether it makes you feel physically sick or not, Levy done his fucking job. Now we've got to see if Ange can do his job. And it is all down to the transfers. But when the first transfer that comes through is Timo Werner, I mean, I had someone say to me on the chat, what was it, yesterday, how dare you discriminate one of our players? You're so toxic, you're so negative. How can you discriminate him? Like, how can I discriminate him? I wasn't discriminating. I was just saying he's crap, because he is. The truth hurts, people. The truth does hurt. I mean, his shot on goal, along with Brian Johnson, was in the bottom 3 worst of the Premiership, for God's sake. And we're meant to be playing this football of where we need wingers that can score at least 10 to 15 goals apiece with a striker that can score 10, because we play so high football that at points we play Kevin Keegan football of you score 3, we score 4. And I'm sorry, Werner did not give me much hope in that. But I have been willing to back down from what I said and say, yep, maybe I went a bit OTT there, because that did piss me off like a lot of people, and say, no, okay, we'll see what happens in this transfer window. It's going to be a sticky one. It's going to be a bloody hard one. But only time will tell now.
Can I just address a couple of things very, very quickly, Dan?
Go for it, mate.
I want to address 2 people. First of all, Ricky Osvaldo. Peter is in a majority of the chats, and not just Dan's, mine, and I can give a list of other channels that he's on. I don't know what your obsession is on this channel. I don't know who you are. This is the other one I want to talk about in a second. Peter is not a happy clapper. I am not a happy clapper because I back Ange. I don't know why you think everyone is a happy clapper that doesn't agree with you.
You on about this fella?
This guy is literally in so many chats, gives up his own time, joins in, is never any problem, never antagonistic.
No, I've had debates with this man where we've disagreed, and there's been other times where we've both sat here and we've both said, you know what, White mate, I'm with you. I like him on here because he says what he believes.
That's what it's about. And the other one I need to address, I don't know if they're same people on different accounts, Lewis Parker, who has been in my chat recently and said some weird things like the Levy outlaw and violent and people worried about their safety. We haven't been just random things like that. And now you're bringing up a thing. I don't know if you know, but that man that you've even spoken about, Ben Kaufman, is family to me. He is a brother that I am very, very overprotective on. And no one says anything bad about Ben with my watch. And I've never seen him once say he's 5'11", even if he is. What the hell does it matter? He's not lying. I don't even know why this has become part of the show. But Lewis, I don't know what you're playing at, but Ben is one of my nearest and dearest that I will literally take a bullet for. And I don't know why, when we're all having a nice chat, Ricky's gone for Peter, who is someone that, like I said, is a great supporter of all channels, never causes any trouble. People may disagree with him. I may have disagreed with him. But he ain't no happy clapper, as you're calling it. He is a damn right good guy that's watching from Australia. I have no idea what time in the world it is in Australia now. But he's in the chats.
They're about 12 hours in front or behind.
But he's on chats, mate, when it's late in the night for him, early in the morning for him. He's here, he's there, he's contributing. And Lewis, just be careful what you're saying when I'm around, especially when you're saying the leave you out lot are aggressive and blah blah blah, and especially when you're talking about my boy Ben, because I will not tolerate it. I just won't.
I missed whatever happened on there. It's just people have got to accept. Yeah, some people have got more passion in football than others. Yeah, that doesn't make you any more or any less of a supporter. It really doesn't. Not for me. I get quite passionate about it, and at times I get told I'm very laid back about it. And there's been times when I think people have come on here and hear me start screaming my fucking head off because we just got done by fucking Fulham. And then we just got torn a new one to the point that we walked off the pitch like John fucking Wayne with Newcastle. Yeah, sure, I've got emotion. That's actually just because people are considered more negative, yeah, doesn't mean they love the club any less. And it doesn't mean we want the club to do bad. We're just willing to pick up on the bad points. And then you go with the other ones that people call happy clappers, call them what they fucking want. Neither here nor there. To me, they're just other supporters who just wants to look at the positive side. I can understand that. Each to their own at the end of the day. We're all allowed our own opinion. And it's like I say to everyone, I'll invite anyone on the chat who comes on here. I'll invite anyone on here. I'll invite someone I don't like on here if it's all he wants to do is talk about football. I haven't got a problem with that because as far as I'm concerned, what happens on here stays on here. But a lot of people do seem to get very, very through it. It was like what I'd done on the other day, a channel on civil war. Why is this fan base at such civil war with each other? Just because one side, well, even though there's about 10 sides to this fucking fan base, because one side does not agree with the other side. Mate, a lot of it to me just, it don't make sense. I mean, I've seen nasty things happen in pubs. I've seen a person get glassed in the face all because he was a West Ham supporter and it was I won't say what club, but it was another club supporter standing next to him. When that's all they was doing was having a drink and talking about football, and he found out what club he supported, and he put his fucking glass through his face. It's only football, and you're talking about a person that lives football. So I'm going to end it on that one, even though I had a bit more to carry on about. But I'm going to try and end that on a civil one. I'd say 9 out of the 10 people that regularly come on my show, I really appreciate it, and I appreciate all your comments. No, I don't agree with them. And I don't have to. Same as you lot, don't agree with half the ones I say. But that's the whole fun of doing this thing on YouTube and doing it live and talking with other people. I like one thing you can do, you can actually learn from opinions, but some people just don't want it. And other people just don't want to put their hands up and admit they're wrong. But a lot of the chat I get on here has always been good. Yes, there's always a few trolls out there. Yeah, we know that, who've got nothing better in their lives except sitting in their basement and trolling on their computer because they've got no love life, because they've got no outside life, and they've probably the most they've ever done is walk around the corner shop or the food shop round the corner. But again, each to their own at the end of the day. And thank you for everyone coming on. Brian, you are always epic to come on here, same as everyone else is. Alex, you know I love you to bits, man. Top fella. First time I met you, I thought you was a bit fruity. I won't deny it. I thought you was a bit off key. And the joke of it, I've said it on so many shows, where so many people on that first show I've done with you jumped down your fucking throat. You might as well just sit back here with a smug fucking look on your face and say, do you know what? I was right. 75% of what you came out with on those shows, you've been right. And that is that at the end of the day. That's why I love having you on my show as well. That's why I love having Stell on my show. Hopefully, I've got a show coming up where me and Steve Butler been talking that he's willing to come and do a show with me. Two total different very people there, two total different opinions, but that is what I like. I like to opinionate football, and you can look and learn from everybody. But look, that's enough of my preaching of the world and everything on that one. Alex, where do we find you?
Mr. Box Office TV.
I was on about, sorry. And that's not saying nothing bad. Hopefully, me and him are going to do a show together soon where we can both have our civil debate. Alex,
Yeah,
where,
Mr.
when,
Box
how?
Office TV. Yeah, I'm still doing one. I'm trying to prepare one show before the Euros. I am gonna be doing some I'm gonna do some videos on tour as well. So watch out for that as well. And I will be doing some transfer videos, but I'm not going to be doing the same old what other people are doing. I'm going to be doing it a different way because I think it's more looking at the characters of what people are doing at the moment. Because we forgot to talk about the one player that everyone's talking about right now that's in the England squad, and that's Conor Gallagher. That's Conor Gallagher, isn't it? You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm gonna have some interesting takes on that. Yeah, just keep watching and keep peeling, and that's it. Because we're on the road to 2,000 subscribers. Because we're still going strong, and that's it. But yeah, I haven't been streaming a lot. No, I haven't. Because you'd be surprised to know I don't like saying the same thing I said before. I don't like saying the same things.
It can get frustrating, can't it?
It gets boring because I say the same things, and I think I'm going to be saying the same things at the end of the season as well. Unfortunately, I don't think anything. I think I'm going to be saying the same things I've seen before. Sorry, they need to prove it to me. Unfortunately, and that's all I need to say. And I'm out of it. I'm over and out to you, Dan. If you don't know, get to know. Back to you. I'm done.
Too fucking right, mate. And everyone, make sure you go up and subscribe to Alex's show. I think you'll find a very different thing when he does his show. He's actually very laid back, speaks it how he sees it, keeps it civil, because there's no one on there pissing him off. Brian, yes, I think everyone knows it. But anyway, where, when, how?
Listen, tomorrow we'll be back with Evening Brews. It will be an hour or half an hour solely based on transfers, because as of next Friday and every Friday, Dave will be doing transfers on tour. So that will be starting, and then Ben is back next week. So Morning Brews will be there, and Evening Brews, I believe, is going to stay. So yeah, like I said, for the two people I had to pop out, I just called out. It's all done with and over. Just how it comes across sometimes, and believe me, I'm one of the people that take the biggest amount of abuse from. Just like I said, when it comes to Ricky, mate, you've been a fan since '72. You were saying, mate, that's before I was born. Major respect for your dedication and support, and you've seen it all. So I can understand you may not be happy with Ange. I get that completely, and respect to you. And Lewis, like I said, mate, it's just the way you type the messages, just the way it comes across. Dan, you and I even had a little speak about it at the beginning, didn't we? About how it comes off on written.
Yeah,
I hold no nothing. I just when someone says anything about Ben or someone that is very, very close to me, and Ben is very, very close to me, I become ultra protective of him. So I apologise if it came across that I was gunning for you. That was not the way it was meant to come across.
Okay, so what I'm going to do here, I haven't quite learned yet how to redirect. I'm sure someone's going to teach me on that, but what I will put on here, if it works, is put the link on there for redirect to the pitch, where if I have a link properly, Stel, Ashmatic, and that are on there. And so if everyone can direct to that, if they've got a few things they still want to watch, when you go on there, please do say that you got sent over there by HotspurHood. And to everyone, I've even taken the time to do myself a new ending.
Oh, wow.
Whether people like it or not, we shall see. But everybody, thanks for watching. It's been an interesting show, to say the least. Thanks to Brian for coming on. Thanks to Alex. Make sure you subscribe to the pair of them. And please do make sure you go over to the pitch and state that I sent you over there. I will learn to do that redirect thing, because I have to do it actually through, if I remember right, I actually have to do it through YouTube. I can't just do it through this, but I will get the hang of it. So everyone, hope you have a good night, and go over to the pitch and state me through you over there. Take care of yourselves, people. And as always,
Levy out.
turn it up and then I'm gonna take it down.